All right, we are live. What is going on, everybody? Hopefully, your Saturday is going well. This is Xbox 2, episode, I believe, 322. I'm your host, Randall Thor 19, the man with the million. We got Jez Corden here, managing editor, Windows Central, always here. What's going on, buddy?
Yo, yo, yo. It's Randall Thor 19 in the house with your boy J-Dog. That's me.
J-Dog.
It's my new personality.
And I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was a little bit of a new intro, courtesy of the one and only Sean LeBrie, who did the visuals, and Judzilla, who did the music.
Yeah, excellent. Judzilla on YouTube does copyright-free music, which is what we need.
Yes.
Because we keep getting copyright. Even though we have a license for this, we have a license for the music, but like we have to constantly remind them that we have a
and it takes forever to clear the claim. Yeah, so it's annoying to work through. So we were just like, hey, let's get new music made, and then Sean LeBrie's like, a new intro to go with the new music, and he's just a master at what he does.
He's a master.
I don't know if any of you guys saw. Did you guys see a little intro with little Banjo and Kazooie? They're on the turret of the warthog. Oh man, it's just too bad they'll never get their own game again. The only place you'll see Banjo and Kazooie is on the intro of Xbox 2 every single Friday or Saturdays, depending on whatever day we decide to do the show.
Had to throw a tribute in there to our favorite underloved character, but yes, new intro. Thank you very much to Judzilla and Sean for helping us with that.
Yes.
And we should have some new.
We got the new intro music coming probably soon, whether it's next week or the week after. But we've heard some of it. Jez likes it, right? So.
Oh yeah, it's super good. It's super good.
Super
man.
good.
Super good.
Anyways, we are here on a Saturday. My fault. Yesterday something came up literally last minute, and I had to leave. I had to go somewhere, and wasn't going to be home. And it was one of those things where it was like, hey, it's like I would have liked to have some sort of early warning, but it was just pretty much take me here. And it's like, oh shit, okay, well, I guess we're not having a show then. One of those things that just kind of pops up very last second. But we still got to do the show, and we do have some things to talk about. So I want to welcome everybody in here to the Xbox 2 this Saturday. If you guys do us a big favor, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we're gonna have a great time. Jez, how's your week been? Chat, before we started the show, Jez he's doing a big huge battle with some ants right now.
I am.
It's like mano a mano, Jez versus the ants.
Every year, right? I live in the countryside, and every year, for like a couple of days a year, it's usually around the hottest days of the year when it's most humid. There's like an ant colony that lives in the wall outside our room, and they have their nuptial flight, which is when the male ants decide they're gonna fly and find a queen or something, and it just so happens that half of the colony ends up in my room. I've been doing battle with them before the show started, because I woke up at Rand. I woke up at 8 p.m. today. My sleep cycle is crazy, but
okay.
On the plus side, I'm very awake. I'm ready to have a high energy podcast. But I was immediately faced with a swarm of flying ants all over the place, and also it's not only that, but it's 90 Fahrenheit, about 31, 32 Celsius here. It's sweltering, man. I'm dripping in sweat, and it's like a sauna in here. And I'm gonna make it even worse now because I just turned on my Xbox to play some games, and it's gonna be even warmer in here. So I'm gonna sweat it out, man.
What game have you decided? Are you gonna step into Elden Ring? Is that what we're gonna? Ooh, Elden Ring.
I finally got back into it after how many years? When did it come out? 2 years ago?
Yeah,
was it 2 years?
It's kind of crazy. 2 years. The DLC is out. We'll talk about Jez's opinion on Elden Ring a little bit later, but I want to talk about these ants, man. You really don't like
What?
ants. You really don't like them.
I don't like any bugs,
You don't
man.
like any bugs.
I'm a city boy, and I live on a highway, and there's just no insects there. There's no insects anywhere near where I live, and so I'm not used to it. I'm not used to it, man. I'm not used to it. I don't like it. So that's where we're at with that.
Yeah,
But
people are
we
saying
personally-
those flying ants are are actual termites, bro.
Nah, I don't think we get termites in Germany. I don't think we do. I hope we don't. Nah, they're definitely ants. I know an ant when I see an ant.
Yeah.
I watch Ants Canada. It's one of my favorite YouTube channels, man.
Ants what?
Do you watch
Ants who?
Ants Canada?
You watch
Ants
some
Canada.
weird stuff. Naked and Afraid, Ants Canada. There's some other sort of shows that you know. Kendall, what is it? Live Kim Kardashian show that you always used to talk about.
Keeping up with the Kardashians.
Yeah, you watch some
there's
weird
season of
shows,
that. I need
dude.
to watch.
You know, you
They're
realize
not
that,
weird.
right?
What are you talking about? They're awesome shows. I have great taste. What do you watch? You just watch like The Bear, whatever that is. I don't even know
Bro,
what that
I mean,
is.
we're talking about the best show on television right now, The Bear. Season
Bear,
3
I'm-
just fully dropped. And you know what's funny? When a show
It
does...
doesn't even have a bear in it.
No,
False advertising.
there actually is a bear in it.
Oh, there is.
One of the
Oh,
episodes, there was a bear in it.
Oh, okay.
It's just hilarious that whenever a show does a full season drop, there are these people that come on Twitter being like, "Why are they so dumb? I wanted this to be week to week." You know, like, and it's just like,
Oh, you're really going on this again?
I'm just saying, it's you know, we recently had Paris Lily of
We did.
Gamertag Radio fame, kind of funny, on our Xbox 2+1 show this past Tuesday. And he even admitted that the Fallout binge was the right way to go. Not the week to
Yeah.
week, the binge. And the
It's
binge
almost
was
as if you both
partially
play it up for laughs. and not-
yeah, and the binge was partially the reason for its huge success. You know?
Yeah, well, of course, man. Of course it was.
Of course.
I mean, when you're introducing something new, you have to get it all out there all at once, like, you know, and so people can, you know, get really hyped about it. It's almost like when you binge watch something, it's almost takes on like a movie like quality, I suppose. You know, it's like you're watching a whole movie, but I don't know. But yeah, your shows suck is the point, and my shows are great.
Oh yeah. My shows are apparently awful.
I also watch 1,000 Pound Sisters. That's a really great show. And I also watch Bear Grylls. Do you watch Bear Grylls?
Who's Bear Grylls?
It's like, oh man, it's a survival show, man. Bear Grylls, he goes into the jungle. He has to survive. Exciting, man.
Okay, yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, Bear Grylls.
Oh,
It's
you know
awesome.
who's in chat? We got Megatron up in here. He says those are carpenter
Oh, wow.
ants, and we got Gaz who says basically F us for doing our show today.
Oh yeah, because Gaz does this show.
Yeah.
We had no choice. You can blame Rand for this one, Gaz. Blame
Yeah.
Rand. Not me. It wasn't my fault. It was never. It's never my fault. It's always Rand's fault. Fucking ants, man. I don't think they're carpenter ants. I think they're black crazy ants. I think that's what they call them, black crazy ants. Because they're going crazy. They're going all in different directions. That's why they call them
Just
crazy.
bust out your vacuum again and go to town. Suck them all up.
Nah, we got work to do, man. We got a show. The show must go on. The show cannot be stopped for ants, dude.
That is true. The show cannot be stopped for ants. So, yeah, you know, if you guys are planning on buying anything for yourself, Manscaped is always there for you. Manscaped.com. You can buy a lot of things. Our code Xbox2, XB2 will get you 20% off if you want to drop
Always active.
that. And we also have the Patreon. You know, recently we did 2 Xbox 2+1s 2 weeks in a row. We had David Jaffe on, which I believe is now available for everybody on Jez's channel.
Yes.
And Paris is currently a Patreon exclusive, so if you guys want to listen to that, you can always sign up and check that out. That was a really, really good one. I thought both of them were actually pretty good.
Yeah, there were some really good discussions. There's a lot to talk about with Xbox at the moment. A lot of moving parts. You know, we had the showcase and then like all the other stuff going down, the multi-plat strategy, and you know every sort of aspect of Xbox's strategy. We discussed it with both lovely chaps, and it was
Yeah.
some good stuff. We need to get Gaz on though. I want to have Gaz on.
You want to
Xbox
have
2
Gaz
plus
on?
one.
We can have Gaz on Xbox 2+1.
Yeah, we need
That'll
to get
work.
Gaz on. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it. Get Gaz on.
You know, we got the question and answer thread that is up for anybody that wants to drop some questions before the end of the show. We'll get to that. And we have some shout outs. We got Inner Machine, Straight Allure, Xbox Dave, Jay Peltier, Thurgus, Kristen the Password, Holy Dark Death, Steve Stompy, James Wiseau, Trickster for Trey, Battered Haddock, Army Dude 52C, Ryan Kipple, Foreign Object, Mythic Marty, Moronic Donkey 99, Randall Thor 19, Silas, Eric Gregory, James Moore, Fantasticals, Katriox, Bright Tundra 1, Discarded Caboose, Justin Duell, Frank Mariano, Peter Broking, Asa T, and Madison, Governor Grimm, DZ Huff, and Achievement, The Scarecrow 121, Darren Trophy, Prof JJJ, Ghostface Killer, Wolfgang KPZ. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and Jez and what we do here with the show. It means a lot. And yeah, with that said, Jez, what do you want to talk about?
There's a lot to talk about. I mean,
you want to be
suppose
Cody
the
Rhodes
biggest...
and be like, so what do you guys want to talk about?
Oh man, I need to watch wrestling. I'm so behind on wrestling now. I still haven't finished WrestleMania.
What are you
Day
doing?
two.
You still haven't even finished WrestleMania?
I know,
that was
man.
all the way back in April.
I know, it's crazy, right? But you know, I've had Naked and Afraid to watch, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But I mean, the biggest topic of the week, I would say, like across the whole gaming sphere, it's probably Elden Ring, right?
Yeah, and,
I mean,
and you're finally playing it, even though you're thinking about like starting it over. Can you just finish the game first before you start? You did start it over.
I did, but I'm see, this is where I went wrong before. I was running two save files. I was running my mage, and I was also running a melee build because I was writing guides, right? So like we had to have a guide for our mages out there, and then a guide for our melee dudes, and like I was assigned to that, right? And then someone else was assigned to, like, you know, dex builds and arcane builds and all that kind of stuff. And I just got really burned out because I was just playing it so much for work. But that's all done now, and now I've managed to get back into it because of all the hype about Erdtree, Shadow of the Erdtree, which a lot of people said was too hard, Rand. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, there was Steam reviews kind of came out, and it was kind of mixed. Some people were complaining about it being too difficult, which is funny because, you know, they would complain about journalists not knowing how to play games, but then the journalists have to play the game without any guides, and then people were complaining about it being too difficult. There was an update to the game that made the those fragments you find, scad. I forget exactly what they're called.
You just call them Shadow Tree fragments. They're
yeah, scad.
It's old English, and it is supposedly pronounced shadow. So yeah, they're all Shadow Tree fragments.
Which gives you the ones in the earlier part of the game give you more benefits than later on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like evens out the scale of it. But man, I think they've already even announced 5 million players so far.
Yeah,
which is pretty good for a DLC that a lot of people can't access because you have to beat a certain bosses. So it's not like you can just anybody who owns the DLC could buy it, but you won't be able to play it unless you beat a couple bosses. So 5 million, hell, a lot of games out there would kill for 5 million sales total, let alone 5 million for your DLC.
I love that they haven't compromised their vision at all. I love that because like it's usually like that in From Software DLC. Like I remember like when I was playing Dark Souls 1, I had to like look up a guide how to get into the DLC because it's like, how the hell do you do this? And I was thinking like there's just no way I could figure this out if I didn't have a guide on how to get into the DLC. But yeah, it's been phenomenally successful as expected. It's the highest rated DLC of all time now, I think. Mm-hmm. Overtaking Blood and Wine from The Witcher. And they put out some really like nice fan art to celebrate that for the game. They said they've been playing it and stuff as well. Everyone's playing it right now. I haven't actually been playing the DLC because I haven't finished the base game yet. That's one of the reasons I got burned out. I got this thing where I want to do everything. I want to get every item. I want to do every boss. I want to do every point of interest, you know, that I can find. And I've sort of I'm sort of on my way now, and it's getting to the point where it's like I'm just sort of putting off Moog at this point. I'm just like, okay, well, I could go there, I could go and do it straight right away right now, because I'm at that point in the story. But I still haven't done Mount Gelmir. I still haven't done some other places, so I'm just still going through it.
But why did you restart though?
The reason I restarted is sort of incidental. I restarted because I wanted a save that I could play on my ROG Ally. Well, my Lenovo Legion Go. I haven't got my ROG Ally at the moment. And it doesn't have cross-save, man. So I gotta have a separate save for PC. I did that double dip, man. I double dipped. I bought it on PC. So that's the main reason why. So like now I've got a save for PC and I've got a save for Xbox. Xbox is my mage save. Although I'm not really a mage much, like a battle mage.
Okay.
I'm using a great sword and magic, which is weird. Doing Ronnie's quest line, you know, all that stuff. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. I actually think it's a top 3 game for me, even having not finished it yet. But yeah, it is funny that the difficulty discourse came up because
it always comes up whenever one of these games comes out.
Yeah, but it's funny because everyone was like, "Oh, it's journalists can't play."
Yeah,
but
that is true.
Dude, my people in my team were 1 and 2 shotting bosses, having no issues with it whatsoever. You know, I had like 3 people in the team had completed it before it even came out. So it's
Dude,
not. It's
are they
like,
Elden Ring gods? What's going on?
Well, I do have I feel like we do have a disproportionate amount of Souls players in my company for some reason, and also Monster Hunter players. And Monster Hunter and Elden Ring share a lot of DNA, like the iframes, the way the weapons handle, all that kind of stuff. And it was because of Monster Hunter that I got into Souls-likes in the first place, because they share a lot of similarities. You know, the stamina and all that kind of stuff, stamina management, similar combat. And in fact, in Shadow of the Erdtree, they've put a weapon in there which actually has the same moveset as the longsword from Monster Hunter. So it's like they put a tribute weapon in the game, which I think is awesome. But yeah, I digress. We've got a lot of Elden Ring hardcore players in the guild.
I mean, I guess so. I guess you do.
We've also got like a lot of my writers are in their 20s.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
So they've got like.
So their reaction times are on point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, their reaction times are a lot better than mine. So yeah, I didn't contribute much to this Elden Ring cycle. But,
so you're pretty.
My team crushed it, man.
You put a take out on Twitter that was like Elden Ring's the best game ever, and you had some interesting responses to that.
Yeah, some people were upset about that.
Of
but
course,
I think
yeah.
I
would say Elden Ring so far. Like if we were to take this generation, I think Elden Ring is so far the best game of the gen. And I honestly, when I was trying to think of like other games that would even compete with that, I don't even think it's really close.
No.
I think Elden Ring is. And this is someone who's not necessarily the biggest fan of Souls games. Like, I didn't like the Dark Souls games. And, like, I enjoyed Bloodborne, but as much as I enjoyed Bloodborne, like, the people that are constantly like, Bloodborne Remaster in PC, I don't really feel that way. Maybe this is because I already played it once and I wouldn't play it again. But it's like, yeah, Bloodborne was good. And I honestly think Sekiro's still my favorite. But when I think of like this gen, I'm like, I think Elden Ring might be the best game of this gen. Granted, I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3, and that is another game people do consider to be one of the best games of this current generation. So, you know, but for me so far, yeah, Elden Ring, it's kind of crazy what they do. And I have the DLC. I haven't played it yet. Because I'm going to play Cyberpunk. That's the next game. I'm officially decided. I've been thinking a lot about Cyberpunk recently, and that's how I know I'm kind of like, I'm going to play it. So Cyberpunk is it.
Yeah.
Finally going to play through all of Cyberpunk, all the DLC, and then I'll probably go and play Elden Ring's DLC after that. I don't know. I just wasn't really in a mood to play a punishing Souls game right now. I don't know. I'm like a mood gamer, a mood TV watcher, a mood reader. Sometimes I got to be in the mood to like play a certain thing or want to play. So I
Oh,
just
makes
not
sense.
in the mood to get on the struggle bus right now and bang my head up against the door for hours and hours on some bosses. It's just like, you know what, I'm not there. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I've been saying that for months though.
About what, Elden Ring?
For Cyberpunk stuff
No, no,
like
no,
that.
no, no. Cyberpunk's different. Like I told you I play
Nah,
Cyberpunk this year.
the thing is, Cyberpunk is it's a significant time investment. It's a very big game. It's like
Yeah, I know.
it's almost like
Well, there's nothing else to play.
yeah,
So
it's almost like you gotta have a almost. I hesitate to use this phrase, but it's almost like you gotta have a Ubisoft mentality to play it.
oh
Like you can sort of just ignore all the side stuff, of course, but
nah,
if
I
you
do everything in these games.
if you like me, you kind of like, oh man, but what if I miss something really cool, man? I don't want to miss the cool thing, you know. So like I end up trying to do everything and then getting burned out. That's why I never finished I haven't finished an Assassin's Creed game in a long time. The thing about Elden Ring is that it's like it's all gameplay, it's all combat. Don't have to like worry about trying to follow a story or characters or anything
Well,
like
there is
that.
a story
Which
and
is
characters, but they're kind of subtle, right?
yeah,
You might need like
and
lore
like
videos to check out and watch if you want to get the full
yeah,
rundown.
I've been watching some Vati video. I love that guy is like he's so talented. Fatty video guy.
Dude, from
He does
Software's art design is like unparalleled.
it is
And
that the way they
the sense of discovery in Elden Ring is probably for an open world game or just in a game in general is also unparalleled.
the one lesson I really want developers to take from Elden Ring, and it's nothing to do with difficulty. It's nothing to do with difficulty. What it is, it's world building. It's like every item in the game has a purpose, and like even where they place them in the games, they have a purpose, and it hints at like story context and all this kind of stuff. It's like a lot of games they just sort of like they don't really consider that like oh it wouldn't make sense for this item to be here, and like players we subconsciously accept that because it's just like oh well that's there for gameplay reasons or whatever, but very little in these games, the From Software games, very little in these games is just there for gameplay reasons. Like everything has a point and a purpose, and it makes everything feel so much more immersive. Like you can find the most mundane object in the world. Like for example, I just found this I don't know this material, and I can go and look into the material, and it'll tell me some tidbits of lore about it. It's like, oh, this the evil god of this item died here, and that's why the item is here. You know what I mean? And it just does contribute to the sense of discovery that few other games can match. But yeah, I'm loving my time going through it again. I don't know why I got burned out. I got to the foot of Langdale and then just put it down for some reason. I don't know if I had to for work reasons, and then I couldn't come back to it, and I was like, oh, where do I go? What do I do? But I pushed through that, and now I'm just absolutely in love. Absolutely in love.
Mm.
What a game! What a game!
So you
Nothing more
saying
to say.
are you saying that developers need to and spit on that thing? No.
Oh no, you didn't. You didn't.
What do you
used
mean?
the meme.
Well,
You
yeah,
didn't.
it's the
Oh
meme.
my god. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm disturbed, man. Someone clip that. Someone clip that.
I mean, that was the
Man,
other.
you see that girl selling she's selling merchandise now with that phrase on it. She's
Yeah,
cashing
I
in,
mean,
man.
as you
Fair
should,
play.
as you
Yeah,
should.
yeah.
If
Get
I
it.
was her, yeah,
Get it.
why not make some
the
TV, make some shirts, some hats, capitalize on that 15 seconds of fame while you can. I was waiting.
Man.
I was waiting for a moment where I could use that because whoo did that did that go everywhere?
Oh man, that was so funny. That was.
Mm.
But yeah, Elden Ring, great game, and I've given you a code for the DLC,
Indeed.
so you got no choice, man. You got to play it. Otherwise, you're kind of doing me dirty, bro.
Doing you dirty. Mm.
You're doing me dirty.
I told you I'd play it. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter when I want to feel like it.
All right. You just remember though, you got to get your shadow tree fragments. You know, like my I got some people in my team who are like still going through it. Like the whole team's basically playing it now, and they were like, "Oh man, I was really scared that Ronaldo was going to be really difficult, but I killed her in one attempt because they actually got their shadow tree fragments up." You know, so it's funny because Bandai Namco put out a tweet that was like, "Please level up your shadow tree fragments. It's why we put them there." You know. And yeah, so it's awesome. Go play it. Really good.
Yes. Let me take a look at a couple of the super chats here. We have Justin Ricketts, newest member of the channel. Appreciate you. Thank you. We have Nerds and Other Legends with the 5. Xbox has so many mascots. I want to see one massive crossover platformer game with all of them. Spyro, Banjo, Crash, Conquer, Raz. Throw Blinks in the mix. They could do that. Yeah, they could.
I could do that, yeah.
And I see Paris is in the chat, the leader of the Banjo Bros. Paris, if you're just getting in here now, what you should do is you should go back to our new intro, and you'll notice the new intro has a Master Chief driving a Warthog, and in the gunner seat there's Banjo and Kazooie. This is the only place you'll be able to see Banjo and Kazooie every week, because they ain't getting no game, Paris. So if you want your Banjo fix,
man.
Xbox 2 is where it's at. We just had to throw it in there. I think that was your idea. I think you told Sean to put it in there. Put in Banjo and Kazooie.
I did. There was actually some other characters in there, but the Warthog's only got so many seats.
Yeah, only so many seats for the Warthog.
Yeah.
That is funny. When I saw that, I'm like, no. I don't think I saw it on my first... when I first watched it too, it was like the second. I'm like, wait a minute, who's that? Who's that in the? Oh, it's Banjo and Kazooie. I was like, where's the shrimp? Where's the Xbox shrimp? Oh, it's removed from this one. Thank God. No more Xbox shrimp.
Oh yeah, the shrimp is retired for now.
Yes,
because we found out what the shrimp was, man.
What was it?
It was the Gears collection that never existed.
Oh, the Gears collection that doesn't exist. Are we sure about that? You sure it doesn't exist?
I don't know if it exists or not. I've always said I've never found any evidence that it exists, but maybe it does, man. Maybe it does exist, and it's only a matter of time, baby.
Maybe. I mean,
for what it's worth, I think it should exist, but I don't know how. I would want it to be more than just a remaster, because FPS boost and resolution scaling already does the remaster treatment for it. I would want like more Ultimate Editions. I want a Gears 2 Ultimate Edition and a Gears 3 Ultimate Edition, and maybe then do a collection. I don't just want a HD remaster of that. Personally speaking, I think it should be something more, but that's just me.
We also have someone who's very mad at me right now. Sauce made that? Dragon with the $9.99. Rand, I played Hellblade 2 last week, and I just want you to know that the game was so boring it physically hurt me to finish it. I'm suing you for pain and suffering. Still love the show, though. Why is it my fault?
Man.
Why is it my fault that you thought it was boring and horrible to get through?
It is a little bit your fault, though.
No, it's not. It is not my...
You
I didn't make the game. I'm not Ninja Theory.
I could barely stand to play the first, like, I don't know.
You don't have any patience, though, Jez.
Dude, I'm sorry, but like...
Dude, I'm sorry, man.
If the first 30 minutes of a game is just walking, I don't care how good the environment is. And then the first bit of interaction you do is one of those lame room puzzles. I'm sorry,
doesn't take, dude. The whole first chapter is 40 minutes long. That also has a bunch of battles. So I don't know.
Well, it felt like 30
I
minutes.
don't know what it was for you to essentially what.
It was pain. That's what it was. It was pain.
30 minutes to get to the first like rune puzzle.
It was pain, bro. It was pain. It was pain and suffering and misery. So it felt like 30 minutes. It felt like years. It felt like I was losing years of my life walking through that landscape. Very, very pretty landscape. Great rocks. I think I said on Twitter, great rocks in Hellblade 2. But man, it's just not my kind of game. And frankly, I don't think it's many people's kind of game, judging by the fact that it didn't crack the top 100 sold games, according to GIindustry.biz tracking. So I don't know what that says for the future of that franchise. I think if they do more not Elden Rings, if they do more Hellblades, it has to be more of a game. I don't think there's a huge market for really pretty interactive movies. But that's just me. That's just me, man. I could be completely wrong. They could have data that it's the most highest played game on Game Pass and it reduced churn and people didn't quit Game Pass because they were loving Hellblade 2, but I just don't think that game makes any sense. But just me, man. Just my opinion. Don't hate. Don't hate, please. I get enough of that.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, he says.
Unbelievable. Well, I mean,
After tricking people into buying Hellblade 2.
yeah, after tricking people into downloading Hellblade 2, apparently.
Yeah. But it is your kind of game, though.
Sauce
It is your
Made
kind of game.
Dragon, you know, he's hurt. And he said it was so boring that it physically hurt him. I don't know. It's like, if you like the first game, I think you'd like the second game. I just don't understand, you know? But
Yeah, I didn't like the
maybe
first
I'm
game.
wrong.
Either.
I know you don't like anything. If it's not Overwatch, Jez don't like it, or World of Warcraft.
I like Elden Ring.
Yeah,
I like games that you can actually just play, man. Let me play.
dude.
I don't like horror games either. That like someone in chat said it great. They called it a coward simulator, where it's a horror game and all you do is run away. You don't have a gun. You don't like. I hate that too. Just let me kill shit, man. That's all I want out of game is let me kill shit. Monsters, zombies, whatever.
Unbelievable. Zombie Jacket with the 2 says Frank West is back, baby. Indeed he is. Cool dude, super noob with the 2. Jez, how's the weather? If footy's being suspended.
The footy's been suspended.
That's
The weather.
That's what he says.
The weather's awful. It's 90 Fahrenheit here, and I'm dying. But we're supposed to get rain, and the heat's supposed to break. Alexa, will it rain?
It might rain tonight.
It might rain
There's
tonight.
a 61% chance at 10 p.m.
10 p.m. it's supposed to rain. So in 10 minutes.
61% chance.
Yeah, so in 10 minutes we're supposed to get rain according to Alexa. So
And then the ants will come back.
the ants are gone now, actually.
Are they?
They're gone. They're gone.
Where'd they go?
I fucking vacuumed them all, little bastards. I vacuumed literally all of them. They're all dead. I'm an ant murderer, dude.
You better get rid of the bag. You better get rid of the evidence.
If only Dr. Disrespect had gotten rid of the evidence.
Oh. And you came out. You didn't like my Hawk 2 girl. And now you're bringing up Dr. Diddler.
Dr. Diddlespect. Oh man, that was the big drama of the week as well. Like Elden Ring was a big one, but I suppose like in streamer universe this week will go down in infamy. I suppose are we streamers, Rand? Are we technically? Streamers?
Technically we are. We podcasters. I guess we're podcasters, but we are streaming. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose we're kind of streamer adjacent, shall we say? Yeah, that was the biggest drama in streaming I've ever seen. I remember when Ninja joined Mixer, like that was like a pretty big drama. Like I think that's one of my highest traffic articles of all time, was Ninja joining Mixer. But this whole Dr. Disrespect thing was just I suppose it's a bit different, right? Because it's Ninja joining Mixer is like it's just like whatever, but this is just like whoa. You know, this could change the way that brands interact with streamers and personalities and stuff like that. Because I think Dr. Disrespect has long been seen as not brand safe. But this is just on another level, man. I don't know.
Got fired from his game company and got dropped by a bunch of sponsors.
You demonetized on YouTube.
Demonetized on YouTube.
I said on Twitter, I said something like he's gonna lose everything, and people were like, "No, he won't. No, he won't." I was like, I just know how these companies operate. You know, YouTube dropped him like a brick. You know, and he didn't have like a formal partnership with YouTube. He was just sort of like how we are. We're monetized on YouTube, but we don't have a direct relationship with YouTube. Like when you're a big celebrity, usually you have a direct relationship with YouTube, but he didn't, because not brand safe, right? So I don't know. Crazy times, man.
Crazy times. Just make sure you be careful about who you're whispering.
Yeah.
Make sure you ask for their age, I guess. But apparently, allegedly, he knew her age and didn't care. So
That's what they say.
A lot of people were walking back. Suddenly, age of consent became one of the most important topics out there. And people were defending them. And then suddenly, slowly but surely, every day, they had to walk it back because it got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
It's like, yikes.
It's like I said on Xbox too. Like in the run up to these things becoming public, you have to use the word allegedly. So he's allegedly accused of X, Y, Z. And then, because like if it turns out not to be true, then you can be like, oh well, I said allegedly. But I had a feeling this was going to be true because of the way his Twitch ban was handled. Usually, like when it's anything else, you know the reason. But when it involves a minor, accusations like that, that's when it all becomes weirdly secretive. So I think a lot of people had this sort of inkling that maybe it was along those lines, but I don't know. Fucking, oh well.
Yeah.
I feel bad for his family, man.
He's got a wife and a kid.
Wife and a kid, and obviously they're going to be impacted by that. And the victim, apparently, the victim and the family of the victim wanted it all kept under wraps because they didn't want to be in the limelight or involved. I think it's fair enough, you know, because who wants to be in that kind of media circus, right? But yeah, I mean, Dr. Disrespect's family has no choice but to be impacted by that.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. Wild.
Yeah, where do you even go? What is the segue from Dr. Diddler to something else, I guess? I don't even...
No, man. I mean, there's some other bits and pieces this week in the news. I suppose the biggest news as pertains to good old Exuboxu.
We got Forza Horizon 4 delisting.
Forza Horizon 4 has been delisted,
Yeah.
which
or is going to be delisted at the end of the year, which is why I'm playing. It's not Forza Horizon 4, but it's Forza Horizon 5 gameplay. You know, sending off Forza Horizon in style.
It sort of brought up a lot of the discussions about
game preservation
and also how much do we actually own of the games we own, which
not any of it.
Legally speaking is not a lot.
But then there was I saw a report today that Sony was gonna slowly but surely stop making physical discs. Did you see that today from Wario?
Yeah, I did. Physical discs are going away, man.
Physical discs are leaving. That can't be true.
I would be,
is that true in the sense that they're going to be like, hey, we're not doing any more Blu-rays, we're not doing any more of that stuff?
Of course it's true. Like the biggest... What do you think is the biggest seller of disc drives right now? It's PlayStation and Xbox consoles. Like, nobody buys Blu-rays and DVDs anymore, you know? Everyone's on streaming platforms and all they buy direct to digital, and you can thank Apple and Google for that, you know? You can buy movies on YouTube now. You can buy movies on Apple TV and your iPhone, and gradually, surely but surely, people are doing that. Now, platform holders love that because they can control your access to it more proactively, you know, at least in theory, right? But also, the demand's just going down, you know, down and down and down and down. And I think, like, I honestly think, like, the PS6 and the Xbox Series X2, I think they'll just be flat digital. I don't think they'll have disc drives at all. I would not be surprised. You think they will? I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't.
I think PlayStation will. Maybe Xbox. Maybe they might have add-ons. I don't know. But even still, like I'm reading some of the comments here. I didn't click on it because it's a Japanese article. But basically, people are saying that this doesn't affect any territories outside of Japan, and this is about CDR, DVD-R, and BDR, and not pressed discs. So it's about recordable media, not like, hey...
like burning discs. Do you remember burning discs as a kid?
Of course. Oh, absolutely. You know what I used to do? I had a burner on my PC. And I would...
Don't incriminate yourself.
I would
pirate movies and burn them and sell them for a fat profit. Randall Criminal
No,
returns.
I wouldn't sell them. But I
okay,
would get them from. I would have like 8 out from Netflix. Like TV shows, like Lost Season 1, they all come in the mail, and then, I would just basically burn them, put them on a burned disc, and then send them back. And I had like huge piles of all these things, like 24 seasons 1 through 6, and whatever, like all these different TV
Criminal
shows.
Returns.
Yeah, the Randall Criminal.
Oh man, I think version shifting is actually legal in America, but it's not in UK. So like everyone out there in the UK is downloading your ROMs and stuff, and being like, oh well, I own the disc, it's fine. Apparently, it's not fine. But who knows with this government? It's not like they can't even afford to prosecute burglars and stuff these days. So
it was great. I would have something coming in the mail from Netflix like every day. Like put it in there, put it in the thing, copy it to the disc, send it back.
So I didn't even know that Netflix was that kind of service until recently.
What?
I hadn't, like,
they rented discs?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Well,
I
mean, they don't do it anymore, but they did.
No,
That's
they
how
don't do
got
it anymore.
started.
But yeah, I didn't know that. That's like my first introduction to Netflix was when they were, what they are now, I think. But I was a Blockbuster kid though, back in the day.
I mean, yeah, we had Blockbuster here too.
Yeah.
Dude, Blockbuster was so good. Does anybody? This is very much nostalgia speaking. Does anybody of my age range? Because you would have to be in my age range, or maybe a little bit younger, maybe obviously
No one's
older.
old, man.
But do you guys like kind of miss going up to Blockbuster and just whether it was a Friday night or a Saturday and just like perusing the store and seeing what's new and maybe getting there early enough because they only had so many copies of the newest release? There was something cool. Maybe cool's the wrong word.
I know what you mean. It felt good, man. I like when I go to Blockbuster and see what new games were there.
Or like I remember going up there and
stuff.
seeing their Xbox collection, or their Genesis collection, or whatever it was back then, and like crossing my fingers they would have the game I wanted, and that not only did they carry the game, but the game was actually going to be in. Man, it was. I miss Blockbuster that way. There was something about it, but then it's like nowadays where you would go up to Blockbuster, but then maybe the movie you wanted to rent wasn't even in. So you're like, God damn it. And nowadays where it's like everything's on demand, everything's streaming, you don't have to worry about the movie you want not being available to watch. But there was something special about Blockbuster though. And I feel like any kid who wouldn't understand that. Like if I was telling this to my nephews or someone who was like 15 or 16, they'd probably look at me like I was crazy. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean that was fun? But I just remember always being excited going up to Blockbuster, and it would be packed too. There'd be so many people up there
on a Saturday
or a Friday night. Yeah.
People buying snacks too. You could buy snacks.
Oh
there,
yeah,
man.
snacks everywhere. Yeah.
Good times, man. Good times. But
good
hey,
times.
there's cool stuff now too. Like Game Pass, which is kind of like
Game Pass.
almost the modern. There's a lot of potentially good stuff on the horizon for Game Pass when you consider. One thing that I keep getting questions of a lot is where are the Activision games for Game Pass, because the Activision backlog. One of the things like people were celebrating when they bought Activision was, we're gonna get all this back catalog into Game Pass. Like Crash, Tony Hawk, Spyro, whatever. Hasn't happened yet. So.
Well, about Forza Horizon 4 delisting, they are sending codes to people if you've bought any add-ons for the game, when it was in Game Pass. So if you bought something for it,
if you bought post-launch content in any form, a loot box or whatever, I don't even really know what's there to buy. I suppose car backs and shit. If you bought anything like that,
expansion,
they're just giving you a free copy of the game, so you can keep it forever.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like when it's delisted for purchase, it doesn't remove your version of it. So like if you own Forza Horizon 4, you get to keep it forever, obviously, or at least until Microsoft shuts the servers down in 50 years or whatever, or it's World War III on an asteroid,
Yeah.
something cheerful like that. But Yeah, that's where I think that's the right thing to do. I think a lot some of the companies probably wouldn't do that, so it's cool to see them to do that. I suppose.
Christopher Stewart says no one old enough to remember the Sega Channel. I remember the Sega Channel. I didn't have it at my house.
Dreamcast.
No.
What is that?
My
Sega
buddy had the Sega Channel, but he hardly let us use it. So I've only actually used it a couple times. I don't know.
What is it?
Sega Channel was basically Game Pass before Game Pass. It was this channel on your cable plan where like all the Sega games were playable.
The fuck?
Yeah, and you would just...
I did not know they existed. That's interesting.
I'm trying to remember, but it was essentially that. It was basically like cloud gaming before. I don't know, but it's been such a long time. The Sega Channel had like all the Sega games, and you could play them, and it was like something like 40 games a month that kind of rotated in and out of the collection. This was like early mid-90s. But I didn't have it, but one of my friends did. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe you can Google it.
Yeah,
and check it out.
I'll
But
I'll Bing it.
You can Bing it.
Bing
You're like
it.
the only person in the world who Bings it. Let me Bing it.
Hey, there are dozens of us.
There are dozens of us.
Do you use Bing chat? Does anyone in chat use Bing? Of course you do. You always Bing. You get your Microsoft rewards with Bing, man.
You do.
Do you not like free stuff, Rand?
I mean, who doesn't love free stuff?
Me especially. I love free stuff.
I think I did try to talk my parents into getting the Sega Channel, but they basically put their foot down. And were like, no. And I was like,
Rip.
But this brought up, obviously, the Forza Horizon delisting brought up a lot of concerns of game preservation. Because the Forza games get delisted, every single one of them. And I sort of think people forget that. All the Forza Motorsport games are delisted except the newest one. Forza Horizon 1, 2, 3, and now 4 are delisted. They used to be available for 4 years. And then they would be gone. This one lasted for 6. Because Forza Horizon 4 came out in 2018. It's leaving at the end of the year, so it's 6 years. So they extended...
They must have extended the...
because...
Did they extend the licenses then?
It has to do with like music licensing, car licensing, and so like after December, the only Forza Horizon game that'll be on the service is Forza Horizon 5. But I know a lot of people were upset by this, and especially with Xbox moving more and more towards digital and less towards physical, like people were like, oh well, if you don't have a physical discs of this, then it was like, oh, some kid who's 10 now in 5 years may want to play the Forza games, but they won't be able to because they'll all be delisted and there aren't really that many physical copies of it. It's like, yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the way it is. I mean, it sucks that they have to get delisted. I don't know how you would rectify that if it's strictly because of the music licenses and or the car licenses. Do you consistently relicense the stuff? Because you will see games here and there get taken down and delisted and then put back up because they had to renegotiate the music license.
It was,
I think Alan Wake happened. Spec Ops: The Line that happened too. There are a few games there that have to renegotiate or re-up their licenses.
There's actually an Xbox game that returned to Steam last week as well.
Yeah.
Well, it's not an Xbox game, I suppose, but it kind of is. Alpha Protocol returned to Steam.
Oh yeah.
Because they fixed the licensing issues with that. Alpha Protocol, published by Sega, but developed by Obsidian, which Microsoft, as we know, owns. So,
dude, Alpha Protocol was the bomb.
I never really played it. But it's an interesting idea. Was it basically a Mass Effect but spies?
Yes, essentially. It was
I really
great.
like that idea. Do you think that that'd be something worth revisiting someday? Do you think?
Yeah,
Does Sega still own that?
If Sega published it, Did Obsidian own the license for it? Or the IP? I don't know. Let's see. Let's Google this. Chat. Let's find out. Google. Who owns Alpha Protocol? Alpha Protocol. I'm gonna guess Sega owns it. Published by Sega.
It must be Sega because they're the ones who've relisted it on Steam. And I don't think Obsidian even knew about it.
It was pulled
They
from
seem
Steam in 2019 due to the expiration of the music rights.
Yeah, so they've renewed the rights. I think that's pretty cool. I suppose at that point you could, replace the music with some copyright-free stuff from Judzilla, on YouTube.
Dude,
You know what I mean?
Destructoid gave it a 2 out of 10. Yikes.
Oh man,
I was looking at some of the review scores here. IGN gave it a 6 out of 10. GameSpot gave it a 6 out of 10.
What did Windows Central give it?
I don't know. Metacritic on the 360, 63 out of 100. There's no way that game was a 60. Are these people crazy? What the hell?
Wasn't the issue that it was bugged though?
It could have been. I just don't remember having any issues with it. But apparently the reviews are. I played it on the 360.
I think it had issues on PC, if I remember
Maybe.
right. Wasn't it a Games for Windows Live game? Probably.
I think it might have been. Yeah.
That's funny.
But it's one of those games where in my mind, I think I played through that game twice or 3 times to get all the achievements in it at the time. But to me, that's not a 60 in my head.
Fair enough.
But apparently the reviews are quite bad for this game.
14 in chat says, Obsidian did say down the line they'd like to go back and do another spy stealth game. So maybe we do get another one. I don't know.
Yeah. What else we got here? We have Xbox Keystone leak thanks to Jez Corden and Zachary Bowden, huh?
Zach Bowden. Zach Bowden, yeah.
Zach Bowden.
It's so funny. We've got Zachary Body and Zach Bowden, which is confusing even within the team.
Tell us about this Keystone thing.
Yeah, so this wasn't exactly a leak. This was a patent,
right? Yeah.
A patent that Zach found that was conspicuously named to throw people off the scent, I think. But Zach found it anyway. So yeah, this is just the patent for the Keystone, and it looks like a square Xbox Series S, really. But Zach added some extra details from his contacts, and one of those was the reason they cancelled it was ultimately because they couldn't get the price down. They wanted to sell this thing for $100 at most, with a bundled controller, from what I heard, but they just weren't able to do that. So that kind of, I don't think you can sell a device like that for more than $100, maybe $120 at a stretch. So like it completely makes sense that it was cancelled, I think, ultimately. But it's kind of a shame because it looks really good, and I think it would have worked really well. But it was fortuitous timing because right after Zach posted that article, I got notified that they're bringing xCloud to a sub $100 streaming device, which is the Amazon Fire TV stick. And this was more controversial than I thought it would be.
It's very controversial. Very. So
yeah, and I don't really understand why.
Xbox Gaming coming to Amazon Fire TV stick. Play more games, no console needed. Is the thing here at the Xbox Wire post. So they said today we're announcing a collab with Amazon, where Game Pass Ultimate members in over 25 countries can play games directly from the Xbox app on select Fire TV devices via cloud gaming, giving people even more choice on how they play their favorite games. In July, so next month, the Xbox app will be available on the Fire TV Stick 4K Max and the Fire TV Stick 4K, I guess both 2023 models. For people new to console gaming or those looking for another way to play, it's a great, low-cost, convenient, and portable option to enjoy a huge library of incredible games. To get started, players just need a Fire TV stick, a Bluetooth-enabled wireless controller, and an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate membership to gain instant access to hundreds of phenomenal games. Yes. So this definitely became very, very controversial. And I'm not exactly sure why. Is it because of
I think part of it was
the marketing beat on it?
The tagline, I suppose, was controversial because it was like, this is just my opinion, but I don't think you should ever be out here saying like, oh, you don't need to buy a console. Like, I think xCloud is great and all that stuff, but I kind of feel like the marketing spiel is a bit tone deaf, especially on Twitter and stuff, when people are sort of, feeling like Xbox's market share isn't good enough, and that's why we're missing games like Marvel vs. Capcom, Monster Hunter Stories and stuff. But the thing is, this actually grows Xbox's market share, because Xbox's market share, xCloud is powered by, what is it powered by, Rand? It's powered by Xbox hardware.
For now.
So for now. But I don't think there's any sign that that's going to change anytime soon. But anyway, like it's powered by Xbox hardware, which means you have to make an Xbox version of a game in order to get your game onto xCloud. So like if you're putting your game on xCloud, you're also putting your game on console, and that's kind of like it works hand in hand. It grows the Xbox market share, and it brings the console to markets where hardware taxes and import fees and stuff make it cost prohibitive to get an Xbox in the first place, particularly Brazil and some Latin American countries, from what I've heard. So yeah, I don't really understand why people were saying it was such a bad idea. But there was an extra bit of cloud news as well, uncovered by Xstasis on, I believe it was uncovered by him. Maybe someone else first found it, but I first saw it from Xstasis, and he said essentially that he found on the web that you can now click to play Xbox games directly using NVIDIA GeForce Now. GeForce Now is obviously powered by NVIDIA PC hardware, and typically right now, when you access GeForce Now, it's the Steam version you get, but then they included PC Game Pass into the service. So like if you've got GeForce Now and PC Game Pass, you can play PC Game Pass versions on there. And obviously if it's like an Xbox game with Xbox Play Anywhere, then you can get your Xbox save on it. It's all a bit confusing and convoluted at the end of the day. But now it seems like you're going to be able to play NVIDIA GeForce Now games directly off your Xbox, built into the system. But we don't know the details yet, because this information comes from the store page, which doesn't have a huge amount of context backing it up right now. So it does seem like Microsoft's expanding further into this cloud gaming stuff as a growth vector for them. And one of the things they did say during Summer Game Fest was that double-digit growth they're seeing in cloud right now.
Yeah.
But it does seem to have some people nervous that this is going to be a replacement. What do you think about that, Rand?
Well,
the nerves.
I think the idea... I mean, cloud gaming in general is supposed to be what cloud gaming is. It's supposed to expand the audience. It's supposed to reach to people who would never buy a console in the first place, or reach to countries that really the console doesn't have any penetration in, because it's just cheaper and just more convenient to use cloud gaming than it is to buy a $500 device. And most people own TVs. It's much cheaper to get a Fire Stick. Those are, there's tons of them. Now, maybe that's one of the reasons why Keystone was canceled, because why do you need Keystone or your own cloud streaming puck when you can just get on Amazon's cloud streaming, Fire Stick or Roku? Now, that does beg the question, but Amazon has Luna, and now they're going to have Xbox on there. So do they not really have that much faith in Luna? I guess that's a question for another day. But when specifically for Xbox, it's like when they started xCloud all those years ago, this was always going to be the end point. of them trying to get it on devices to expand their reach, right? When they made the deal with Samsung and you could play, xCloud from Samsung's little, like smart TVs. No console needed was the tagline and all that stuff. And we've seen the leaked documents from the Insomniac hack, which PlayStation has mentioned also wanting to be on the Fire Stick and being on all these different platforms that have nothing to really do with console. So it's like this was always going to be the end goal of cloud gaming, because cloud gaming is all about being everywhere you possibly can and getting it in the hands of as many people as humanly possible, because the console user base, for whatever reason, is always stuck at around 250 million people and is not growing. Now, that's not to say that it can't be profitable to run your businesses, because Nintendo's profitable and Sony's profitable and Xbox is profitable and all the third-party companies are profitable, but also they're always looking for more growth. They're always looking to how do we make more money? How do we reach more people? They're worried that, Gen Z, the one that's coming up now, the TikTok generation, doesn't want consoles. Maybe they would be perfectly okay with cloud gaming. I don't know. I guess, from what I can gather, what people really had a problem with is the marketing tagline, "No console needed." Because as we know, Xbox has some troubles selling their hardware in recent years. Constantly down 30%, quarter on quarter, things of that nature. PlayStation doesn't necessarily have that problem at this point. So I think for some people, they see that and they see no console needed. They think to themselves that this is it. Xbox is getting out of the console business, when this whole thing isn't really for you. It's trying to get new people into it, and also giving you more avenues of being able to play without being tethered to your Xbox.
Yeah.
You talk about playing until there's an actual Xbox handheld where you can take games on the go. Now you can just be like, hey, I'm going to Summer Games Fest next year. I don't need to bring my console. I can just take my Fire Stick, and when I'm at the hotel, plug it into my TV, and boom, I can be able to play my Xbox games through cloud gaming on the smart TV there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think some of this is just internet outrage. People need to be outraged about the next thing, right? Like, what are we going to be upset about this week? People find reasons to be upset. So I don't know. Is there a better way to market this to people? Maybe you could call it Xbox Everywhere. I mean, I don't know. I don't get paid the big bucks. I don't have a marketing degree. So that this is what they determined is the best strategy or the best use of it. Is it the best one? I don't know. Because to me, sometimes I don't think it's really. It's not so much the console that holds people back. It's just that they don't. One, I don't think they even know what a console is, and they don't want one. So, the advertising of no console needed to the type of people they're trying to advertise to probably doesn't really jive with those people, because it's not necessarily about the console anyways.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like that tagline, and I think Xbox's mentality is we want to make it simple for people to understand. But you're completely right that I think a lot of people that this is targeted to, they don't even care about console in the first place. It's not the console holding them back. It's why do I need this kind of device anyway, when I live in a world where my mobile phone has really high quality games anyway.
But nobody's buying them. Did you see that report about the Assassin's Creed Mirage and Resident Evil 4 on iOS?
Yeah.
How nobody bought them. It's in between 3,000 to 30,000 copies. And it's because nobody, I don't know. It's great that those phones are powerful enough to run those games, because maybe that technology can be put into smart TVs and stuff, right? But the fact of the matter is, Jazz, and you've said this for a long time, and the data backs it up, is that people do not want to spend money on their mobile phones, or apps within their mobile phones, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so when you're talking about gaming, for whatever reason, gaming on iOS and Android was a race to the bottom. And you either got to be free or you have to be insanely cheap. And I think those games were like $15, right? Or whatever they were. Nobody buying a 15. Yeah, nobody's buying a full-priced game on an iOS on your iOS phone. Nobody.
Yeah.
Cuz that's just not the audience that iOS is built. It's like it has to be cheap, like insanely cheap. So yeah, seeing those reports, it's like 5,000 people bought Mirage or whatever it was, or 30,000 bought Resident Evil 4. Yeah, it's because there's no audience for that stuff on iOS. The audience, you basically built and trained the audience to only want to spend nothing, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back to the Fire Stick stuff. It's just, I honestly think the reason people are pissed is because because of the marketing tagline. No console needed, so they think the Xbox console's not important enough. Or not important, period.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. I do think Microsoft shot themselves in the foot a little bit there, but I also don't think it's a big deal. And I agree with you that the console itself is not a barrier to adoption. It's just the fact that they need to be where people are. And it kind of feeds into this what you were mentioning about, like people won't pay for people won't pay for games when they can get so much for free. They don't care that much about it. They'll happily just play Fallout Shelter, or if they're a little bit more involved, maybe they'll play a Genshin Impact, which has a bit more investment. But a lot of people, they just want simple and easy, brainless, time wasting stuff. And all these kind of games that we love are just too involved for a lot of people, I think. Fair or not. And it's become a bit of a bubble, I suppose. Like, as costs have gone up and the audience hasn't grown, it's sort of created this dilemma. So, like, one of my concerns would be, like, people who are buying into these cloud gaming platforms, are they actually new players? Or are they just people like me who are just using it when they can't access their console? Because if that's the case, then they aren't really growing the market by doing this. It's new players they need. They absolutely need new players. Which is why I think as well, it's interesting. It's probably too little too late, to be honest, but it's interesting that Sony's going hard on Astrobot now. Because it's like, well, Astrobot can be our gateway drug to Gen Alpha, which is a generation after Gen Z, and try and get them into console. I would be like, if I was a console manufacturer, I would be investing so much money in trying to figure out how to indoctrinate the next generation. Indoctrinate's an aggressive word, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I was an evil corporate overlord, I would want to indoctrinate them kids. But I mean, it's what they're supposed to do, right? They're supposed to grow the user base, and it's not growing. So what do you do? I suppose cloud gaming is one avenue for this. Will it work? Will it not? Remains to be seen. But they're trying at least, and I don't think it takes away from console, even if that marketing tagline was a bit dumb.
Yeah. Well, also I think console people think everything's advertised to them. So they see this and they think this is supposed to be advertised to them, when in reality it's not.
Right.
And they're just like, what do you mean it's not for me? Where it's supposed to be for but that's the other problem. It's like, how do you get people who aren't interested in Xbox to want to check this out on an Amazon Fire Stick? Because you're right that there are going to be people who are Xbox users who have Game Pass that have an Amazon Fire Stick, or now are going to pick it up an Amazon Fire Stick because for the convenience factor. Oh, like I could have my Amazon Fire Stick upstairs and my console downstairs, and if I want to play it upstairs, I can do that, right? So the convenience factor of Xbox's Play Anywhere approach, where it's like cloud saves everywhere, all that sort of stuff, everything. But what they really want is they want new users. But that's the thing, is like, how do you get those new users? And it's just by saying, hey, Xbox is on Amazon Fire Stick, is that enough? Are people who don't care about Xbox going to suddenly look at their Amazon Fire Stick and be like, oh, like that's I think the issue is trying to get people to check to even check this out that aren't like gaming fans really.
Yeah.
As to expanding Xbox's potential audience. And I mean, I think the only way you can do that is with these amazing games that eventually, you're putting out, like ones that reach past. Fallout would have been a good one because people were, going gaga over Fallout. And I think as we saw how well Fallout did and is currently doing, but not every game's like that. And it's just kind of the struggle of, okay, how do we reach these people that aren't really interested in any of this right now? And for a long time, it was like, okay, well, if they're interested, they got to get the console, and it's because of these games. But now you know that there are people who will never buy a console, period.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but we still want to sell our stuff to them, and we've made it really cheap to do so, like $50 and an Xbox subscription to Game Pass. I also still think that not a lot of people even know what Game Pass is outside of the gaming sphere. And I know it's anecdotal, but like I mentioned Game Pass to both my sisters, and they were like, "What's that?"
Mm-hmm.
My brother knows because he games from time to time. And I'm just I sort of wonder if like with this year's Call of Duty upcoming, and with it being tied to Game Pass, like this is the best opportunity for people to explain to the casual audience what Game Pass is and how it's like, hey, you sign up and you can play all these games for free and you can play it without a console if you need to. I think that's...
Well, King... Yeah.
Go ahead.
I agree. I was just going to say, like, King Webb made a really good point in chat just now. He said, how many kids have a Fire Stick in college dorms?
It's true.
And that's, like, a really good point, And I think, like, it's just... You've got to do everything. You've got to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. You've got to Fire Stick, GeForce Now, just try everything to grow the user base. And I think it will work. I think it will. I think they will be able to grow the user base by doing some stuff like this. But I think really, like, it will come down eventually to having viral hits, great games that really, really resonate and go viral, become big games and honestly that are exclusive to your platform. Microsoft doesn't want to hear that. I mean, if they're exclusive to Game Pass, as the cheap way, or like we've sort of discussed before, they could do like some really great perks for Game Pass that make people want to use it too. But I don't know. I don't envy their job. They've got a lot of work to do to sort of get Xbox to where it needs to be, and I think they will. I think they will do it.
Yeah, we got Grandman in the super chat with the 2. Did you hear you can watch Amazon on Xbox now? I mean, the Amazon Prime app's been on Xbox for a while. So I used
Amazon
to watch Prime.
That's not new. Yeah, that's not new.
Jax82 with the $4.99. There's people that think they're abandoning the console, which that's not true. Do people not know they made a deal with Samsung TV as well? People forget that because I don't know if there's been any movement on the Samsung TV stuff. So I think the Xbox app was supposed to come to LG's at some point, but it never did, or it hasn't yet. So I wonder.
I think it will.
I think it will.
I think it will eventually. Like you say, it's going to be everywhere. But I think Samsung probably was just like, we can extend this.
Okay. And iSiler with the $4.99. Mobile folks want to play mobily games, not RE4. Is that a word?
Yeah, mobily games. Like he's not wrong. People, they do want to play mobily games.
Yeah, I do think he's sort of right. They want to play games that are made for mobile, not Resident Evil 4 on touchscreen or plugging in a Backbone or whatever and playing it. This is kind of how it is. But there's challenges with all these things, right?
Yeah.
So I was just, I was surprised by the. I didn't really think this would. I mean, I knew Xbox was probably proud to make this announcement, like, oh, Fire Stick, it's a big thing, getting Xbox on there. But I didn't really see like the backlash from it because, as we've seen, all these companies have all these plans to do with cloud gaming in the future,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to expand their reach, and this is one way to do it. You know, it is what it is, and it's like this has been in the cards for a long time, ever since they. I mean, what did you think? Cloud gaming was just going to be stuck on your, and I think you always mention this, like they're basically at the mercies of Apple and Google on the phone. So you have to do other solutions.
Yeah, and Amazon has its own version of Android, which bypasses Google. I mean, Amazon's had all these issues too because it's like Amazon literally can't, they can't proliferate any of their stuff because they have to follow Google's rules. I was literally I was buying some manga on Kindle yesterday, and I opened the Kindle app on Android, and it was like, oh, by the way, you can't buy shit here. You have to go to the website because of Google's rules. So Google is anti-competitively blocking Amazon from being able to sell books on its platform when Google has its own books platform, which is just bullshit, because like Windows completely open, anyone can sell anything on Windows, and Microsoft, stays out of it. I bet Microsoft regrets that. Microsoft's probably like, oh man, you mean we could have sold this shit? Why did no one tell us? But that's Apple for you. They've defined how this industry goes, and everyone has to sort of follow along now. It sucks, but oh well.
Oh yeah, cloud gaming. I
just lost 100,000 runes.
Oh, that sucks.
Because of stupid complacency and thinking, oh, dogs aren't dangerous.
Yeah. We're getting a Dead Rising remaster. And didn't you tease some Dead Rising stuff a long time ago? Like a year ago?
I did.
Yeah.
About a year ago, I heard there was a Dead Rising project or revival effort in the works. This is the first fruit of it. But from what I've heard, this isn't all that's being worked on. So maybe a new Dead Rising. I don't know exactly what it is. I just knew that the franchise wasn't dead. I think that's pretty much what I said. I wasn't sure if it was a reboot, a remake, or something new completely. But from what I've heard, that this isn't it. There's more stuff on the way too. It's cool to see though. Like, are you a Dead Rising guy? How do you feel about Dead Rising? We never really talked about it.
Yeah, I played Dead Rising 1. I didn't play Dead Rising 2. I played Dead Rising 3. And I didn't play Dead Rising 4. So okay. I'm kind of hit or miss when it comes to Dead Rising.
Dead Rising agnostic.
Yeah, I don't know. It was definitely unique. The first Dead Rising was super unique. Had the whole timer feature, which people complain about, but then people love, right? Where you had to be at certain places by a certain time, and if you didn't, you'd miss out on things. And people don't like missing out on things in games, right?
No,
you can only save in the bathrooms. I think it was also an Xbox 360 exclusive, if I'm not mistaken, when it came out in 2006. Because the PS3 wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
So it was the de facto exclusive. And it was
this remaster will be multi-platform.
Well, they haven't announced platforms, but yeah. It looks like, I don't know, is it on the Resident Evil engine? I sort of wonder how the dismemberment and all those sort of things go, and are they going to have the timer? Are they going to have you can only save in the bathroom? Because they did port it to the Xbox One, like almost every game that came out from the 360 gen. And did they get rid of the time? They might have, I forget.
I don't know. Maybe someone in chat knows. I don't know.
But they have to be doing this because there has to be a brand new Dead Rising coming eventually, like a Dead Rising 5. Like you're doing a Dead Rising remaster, it's because it's basically to set up a new one. And it's been a while since there's been a new one. Dead Rising 4 came out in 2016. So it's
Yeah,
been
a
8
long time ago,
years.
man.
So
Yep.
if you want, but here's the other thing. I saw people upset because it wasn't a Dino Crisis remake or something. Dino Crisis
Yeah,
game.
that was me.
And
I'm
people are
upset
just
about
like,
that.
"What? Dead Rising? Not. But what about Dino Crisis, Capcom?" It's like, yeah.
Yeah, what about Dino Crisis, Capcom?
I mean, they're like the Banjo fans, I guess.
Top liver.
Basically, just keep on getting shit on, and other games keep on coming out instead of a new one that they want, right?
Screw that.
So, yeah, but then that
Oh,
wasn't
time.
the only sort of remake information we got, because Ubisoft said they got some Assassin's Creed remakes in the works, Jez.
Yeah.
So,
Assassin's Creed remakes. Do you think that's the Ezio collection, maybe?
there was a rumor that
They've
they're doing.
remastered that already.
They have. I mean, I think they've done that for almost all their games. They did the Ezio collection. But I think there's a rumor that Black Flag is getting the remake treatment. And I was thinking of like, man, there's a part of me that sometimes thinks maybe something gamings are creatively we're just kind of creatively bankrupt, because it's like, all right, a Dead Rising remaster, yay, like more Assassin's Creed remakes. And I was sitting there, I'm like, would I actually want any of these Assassin's Creed remakes? And I guess the only one that would interest me is Assassin's Creed 2. Maybe Assassin's Creed 1, because it's so old at this point, you could remake it, do something different. But I don't know. Maybe it's because, I mean, I do like Assassin's Creed. The thing is like, maybe it sounds a little hypocritical because I was like so gung-ho for a Dead Space remake. And now I'm kind of poo-pooing the idea of an Assassin's Creed remake. And yeah, obviously that has stuff to do with it where it's what Rand wants. So Rand gets excited for the things he wants.
Damn Rand.
But at the same time, the Dead Space remake was a remake, but they added things to it. New things. And I sort of doubt that these remakes or remasters will go to that length that they did for... that motive did for Dead Space, and it's just going to be higher resolution or better frame rate, not really anything new, and it's just a way to fill up a release schedule and get more money from your fans, because it's taking a long time for Assassin's Creed games to come out now because of how long game development is. That people are getting nostalgia for the old type of Assassin's Creed. Remember how people were like, oh, Mirage, yeah, because it's basically the old style of Assassin's Creed, because some fans got left behind when they switched to this new style. And now you have where it's like, okay, well, we have all these games already made, right? You got Assassin's Creed 1, 2, Brotherhood, 3, Revelations, Black Flag. You have all these Assassin's Creed games, that are on the 360 gen, that are of the old style, that are sort of beloved, and you could remake them. I don't know how much you would spend on it, but there are probably a lot of people that would be like, oh, Assassin's Creed 1 and 2, oh yeah, I'm going to totally get that, to go along with the people who would want to play Shadows. So it seems like it's just easy money. In a time when it just takes too long to make, new Assassin's Creed games, when you have all these different studios working on one game. Yeah, why not?
One thing I did know is like, it's not just gaming though. It's movies. It's
True.
music.
Yeah.
One thing I know is like every time the radio comes on, it's like there'll be like some like new hip hop song or whatever, or pop song, and the backing track is always from an existing song from the 80s or 90s or even the 70s. Like that new Eminem track, for example. It's like the beat is from the abracadabra.
Watch out, we just got demonetized right there. We just
probably
Eminem just took everything.
Thanks Eminem, but that track is from somewhere. I can't. What's the name of the band?
They sampled it from something, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the band. But everything's sampled now. Literally everything. Like there's just, and it even seems to be extending to games, I guess. Have we just run out of ideas as a species? I suppose there's only so much you can do when you like sort of bound by the laws of physics and space and time, right? Steve Miliband, that's it. Joe Dunn in chat. Yeah, I don't know, but
Hey, whatever's
I
old
was
is new
actually
again.
thinking. I
Whatever's
was
old
actually
is new
thinking,
again,
like,
bro. That's what some of these Assassin's Creed games are old at this point, so it's new.
That's true.
That's like Gear Z Day, right?
Oh,
20
yeah,
years
that's
old at
true.
this point. And it's not a remake, but there's enough time there where there's that place where it's like, okay, we don't need to remake one, although maybe they will. We'll see if the collection's real or not, but there's a story to tell within that. So we're going to go back and tell it. And it's a time when people loved Marcus and Dom and the Gears franchise. Not saying they don't love it now, but I think a lot of people have a connection to Marcus and Dom that they don't have with JD, Kate, and Dell. And that connection is also very nostalgic because they were 15 when they experienced it, or they were 20, or whatever young age. So when you think about Marcus and Dom, not only are you thinking about those games in the past, but you're thinking about your life back then and how carefree it was, and how you don't have all the stresses and all this sort of stuff that you do now. And it just takes you back to a simpler time, a good old time, when it was just all about going out and hanging with your friends and going for joyrides, and everything was just amazing, and you didn't worry about a mortgage or a car payment or kids or any of that sort of stuff.
Oh man,
It
Rams,
just puts you in
you're
a
really
better
gonna do it
mood,
like
bro.
that?
I mean, think about it. That's why nostalgia for a lot of people is the way it is, because you think about the better times, the times when you don't have as much stress as you do now, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm nostalgic for it. I remember Marcus and Dom. I remember, what I felt like back then. And I'm sure for a lot of people, that could have been even their first moment of gaming, or true, I don't want to say true gaming, but early 360, 20 years at this point. That could have been someone's really first experience with gaming, period. Where, ours is Nintendo and Genesis and stuff. And those characters speak to them. So now here you are 20 years later. When you think about it, oh my God, 20 years? It's like, yeah, Assassin's Creed is the same thing. Assassin's Creed was 2007, I think, for the first one. And then 8 and 9 and 10. Maybe it has that same sort of nostalgic feeling for people of our age and younger that started gaming at the PS3 360 gen, so it just makes business sense to revisit those classics once more.
I mean, maybe the developers themselves feel nostalgia for it. Maybe it's the first game they worked on, and they're like, "Oh wow, I'd love to whack a new coat of paint on this classic." I mean, I can feel that angle as well. It's fun times, I suppose, for remakes and stuff.
Yeah, it's just
I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it? Is there one
I'm okay with
particular
it. When it's something I want,
Yes.
then yeah, I mean,
is there one particular one that you want?
the best is when they do like a full blown remake, like the Resident Evil stuff.
Oh,
Obviously,
yeah.
that like they've done a Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 1 or style remake of Dino Crisis. I was obviously the Holy Grail. Will we ever get it? Who knows?
Dude, Resident Evil does it the best. Because they give you these remakes that are love letters to the original, but then also kind of add some new things. But then they don't stop making the new games either, right? So it's like Resident Evil 2 remake, and then here's Resident Evil 8, and they're like, here's Resident Evil 4 remake, and here's Resident Evil 9. So it's not just we're only doing remakes; we're also doing the new games that continue on with the story. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion.
That's the best way to do it. I agree. And to be fair, we are getting that with Assassin's Creed. There's
True.
Assassin's Creed Shadow coming out, and I think I've noticed loads of games doing this recently. Like there's even World of Warcraft. There's like 4 different modes now, and like three of them are based on the game as it was in like 20 years ago. One of them's based on the game as it was 10 years ago, and then there's the retail version, which is like the modern version. Maybe it's just the business model now. Nostalgia is a big driver of revenue, I guess. But
Yeah. We have a guy just chilling with the $4.99 with Xbox CMO now out. This is Microsoft's chance to get a real marketing person / team assembled. Xbox / Game Pass should be known more. Great show, guys. Well, thank you. And we do agree. Game Pass should be out there more, and maybe it will be starting with Call of Duty. That's like the litmus test, I guess. We'll see how much they market those together and how much that brings in. I guess the question begs, do you think they'll put a Call of Duty game in Game Pass before Call of Duty Black Ops 6 launches at the end of the year, Jez? Do you think maybe they test the waters a little bit?
I have no idea around our 419.
Because we haven't gotten any of the AB key, like we've gotten what, Diablo 4, which as according to the information, Xbox Game Pass became like the biggest platform for Diablo. Is that true?
Yes.
Which is
at least
pretty,
for now.
Well, at least for now.
It's probably gonna be when Vessel of Hatred comes out. It probably won't be, but well, maybe that's the play then, because like if Game Pass almost is a separate audience, a new audience of new players who never experienced XYZ before, maybe that's the play. Maybe your play is we'll put an older Call of Duty on there that's reached the end of its shelf life, one of the recent modern ones maybe or something, just to give people a taste of what it's like to play a modern Call of Duty in Game Pass. Microsoft has to be thinking about this, because Game Pass is like, Microsoft has a lot of good exclusives coming out, but honestly, their biggest exclusive for this holiday season is Call of Duty in Game Pass. That's the biggest exclusive for Xbox this holiday season, which is weird, right? But that's the times we live in, and I think like it's the biggest chance and opportunity they've got to grow Xbox overall is through Call of Duty hitting that platform. So maybe you need something to build people up for it. I don't know though, but summer is pretty muted for game releases. I mean, there's some games I was looking forward to have been delayed out of the summer, which is annoying, but is what it is.
You see that Lost Record game got delayed?
Yeah, Lost Records got delayed.
Which I guess isn't a
Frostpunk got
surprise,
delayed.
because the game they used to make, Life is Strange, is probably coming out around the time they were going to come out, and they're like, oh shit, our former Flame is releasing something new at the same time we're releasing our game, which is a new IP.
That is a weird
Yeah, we probably should delay it, shouldn't we? Because I think people would choose Life is Strange double feature over Lost Records.
I would imagine. So it's like, okay, we need to delay this game to next year. Yeah. But yeah, like even I'm trying to even think like the big, because this time last year, I think was it Final Fantasy 16 had just come out. Diablo 4 had just come out, right? Diablo 4 was June last year, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
So there were some bigger games in June that typically aren't there. July next month, I mean, I know like Flintlock is coming out, but I don't really think there's anything super big. And I think the biggest game in August is at the end of the month when Star Wars Outlaws comes out, which I think is going to be a pretty big game. Yeah, I've heard good things about it. Oh wait, no, I forgot. The DLC for Elden Ring's the big game for this month. Probably the big game of the whole summer. Maybe people don't think of DLC in that way though. Fair or not, right? But yeah, I bet you any money that when we come to the end of the year, there's going to be a debate about whether expansions can be considered for Game of the Year. I genuinely don't think they can bend the rules just because Elden Ring's that good. You don't think so? I don't think so. I mean, otherwise, like, why didn't you do it for Monster Hunter World Iceborne, which again was absolutely massive, as big as the base game? Why didn't you do it for Witcher? All this stuff. You can't just retroactively change the rules for one game. That's just my view, though. But I'm saying I think the conversation will be had. Because people will be like, it's the best thing to release. So why shouldn't it be awarded so.
Oh, they should do what Sony does and put like a new title on it, a new game.
Well, Phantom Liberty was nominated in a couple categories last year.
Yeah, maybe it can be nominated for categories, but I think best game of the year needs to be a new game. Otherwise, you end up in a slippery slope. That's
yeah,
just
I
me.
suppose. But I do think that conversation will be happening at some point.
Yeah, probably.
As for the Xbox marketing stuff, I would imagine this like Fire Stick thing has been in the works for a while. It wouldn't be something they just put together once this guy got out of office, Jarrett West. So this will be all part of. Yeah, I was gonna say this will be all part of like, hey, Call of Duty's available, but then they don't have the streaming rights to Call of Duty, do they?
I don't know.
Well, because Ubisoft does, yeah?
Oh yeah, but isn't that just Europe or no?
I think they basically said that's going to be throughout the entire country, like everywhere. No?
Oh,
I forget.
I honestly don't know off the top of my head.
We got RDX on a fight with the 699. How do you guys think the gaming industry in North America will change if the U.S. becomes a dictatorship later this year? Could the FTC dissolve?
Oh god.
I mean,
if US becomes a dictatorship, you got bigger problems to worry about.
yeah, you got bigger problems to worry about than gaming. I mean,
People really think that? Is that a risk?
I mean, I guess it's a risk, but I don't think the FTC would dissolve. He would just appoint a new leader of the FTC and give it new marching orders. But yeah, and Will with the 5 says, will the Game Pass app be pre-installed in the Fire Stick homepage or not? Let me look, because I think they mention it. It says, once downloaded the Xbox app, so you have to download it, but I don't know if it'll actually be... Here's what they say. Once downloaded, the Xbox app is designed to offer a smooth, seamless experience. Here's how it works. Simply install and launch the Xbox app from your Fire TV device. Now, that could be on a home page. I've never used an Amazon Fire TV stick. I don't even know what it looks like. I mean, I know what it looks like. I'm talking about like the user interface. I have no idea what it even looks like.
Oh, I don't know about that. It's just gonna be like an Android thing.
Yeah.
It is Android with their skin on it, and without Google Play. I mean, it's not even new. You could sideload xCloud APK onto a Fire Stick already. So, it was fiddly and it didn't work that great. But it wasn't like it was impossible, especially because a lot of people hack their Fire Sticks and put like all kinds of, naughty piratey stuff on it. So, it's not exactly a shock that this would happen because people would probably do it anyway. But there is a catalyzing factor here, and that is Panos Panay is now in charge of Amazon hardware. Panos Panay, obviously the architect of Surface. So like there's a link there, Amazon, an ex-Microsoft employee, and he was on Twitter congratulating the whole thing, being like, yeah, we're in cahoots, we're buddy now and all this stuff, So there's that aspect to it as well. But...
Yeah, they say, so simply install and launch the Xbox app from the Fire TV device. Sign in with your Microsoft account to play. Not a member, no worries. You can sign up to go Ultimate, blah, 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 blah. Connect the Bluetooth wired controller. You can use the Xbox wireless controller, the adaptive controller, the PlayStation DualSense, or the DualShock 4 controller, and start playing. So it sounds pretty simple. I guess the question is, they'll have an ad on the front of it? I guess maybe if Xbox pays for placement. But also, I did notice that in July, when this does roll out, it's only going to be available on 2 sticks, Jez.
Yeah, I think that's for RAM reasons. It's available on the Amazon Fire Stick 4K, which is $40, and the 4K Max, which is $60.
Well, it's the 4K Max, which is $60, and the 4K one, which is $50, but the 2023 models.
Yeah.
But so anybody that's got like a 2022 model or wouldn't have it. So yeah.
The 4K model is currently 20% off as well, so you can get it for $39.99. Use a buy link from Windows Central if you do buy one. Thank you very much. But yeah, I think I just like it. I'm just glad to see it expand to more places. But I do wonder if this is a death knell for Amazon Luna, because like Amazon Luna does have Microsoft stuff on it, like the Fallout games are on there and stuff. But like Amazon has to be realizing we just don't have the content for this. It's probably better for us to do partnerships with Nvidia and Xbox to make this happen.
Which is funny because Amazon is publishing the next Tomb Raider game.
Yeah, and
And
also the Fallout TV show. They're very close because of that right now.
True.
It's really funny because Amazon and Microsoft sue the hell out of each other when it comes to the cloud stuff. But like, you know, it just goes to show that it's all business at the end of the day. When it's mutually beneficial, they'll go ahead and do it, even if they're suing each other over cloud contracts in other places. It's funny, man. But yeah.
Are you going to test this out when it happens? Is the Fire Stick even available in the UK?
Yeah, Fire Sticks are available. I will probably. I'll give it a go. I've got a Samsung Smart TV though, so like I don't need one because xCloud is already on
Right.
on my TV. It's baked right in.
Have you used it?
Yeah, it was great until my girlfriend's mom downgraded our internet. 250 meg. We used to have gigabyte down, but we don't anymore. Rip.
Rip.
Yeah, so it's less great now, but yeah, it worked really well before. I'm going back to England next week. Won't affect the podcast, by the way. But I am going back to England next week, and I'll be back to 1 gigabyte, so maybe I'll test it there as well. I'll let you guys know.
Isn't NVIDIA GeForce also on Samsung TVs?
Yes, it is. And also, but you know what's interesting? Steam Link was also on Samsung TVs, but Samsung blocked it recently.
Really?
They removed it, which is so annoying. Because I used to use that as well, but I suppose I don't have to if I've got NVIDIA GeForce Now. GeForce Now is really good. Really, really good.
Well, Jez. Also, apparently, 59% of users on PC choose the Xbox controller. As
I did see that.
per some poll or something.
I did see that.
I guess isn't that big of a surprise because the Xbox controller is the best controller.
That's true.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you're using Windows, you know, the Xbox controller just kind of makes sense. The Xbox button works with the start menu, all that kind of stuff. I think Xbox entrenched themselves as the de facto PC controller for many, many years, probably during the 360 gen. Sony's, you know, done pretty good at supporting it as well, but not as well supported as the Xbox controller. Another piece of Sony news, actually, that I thought was interesting, and this comes from Paul Tassi at Forbes. He noted that Helldivers 2 has lost 90% of its users, which, you know, is to be expected from a service game.
Yeah.
But he made the point that they're not getting them back, like, with subsequent updates. And it made me think, like, well, what do they need to do here to grow Helldivers again? They probably need to do, like, some kind of big named expansion or something, right? Because they're kind of like, everyone's used to getting small updates. But maybe they need to go hard, bigger and better,
or this is just the way it is. And Helldivers was hot for a minute. It made its money. It sold its units, and people are just moving on. And it's just not going to be a part of that Fortnite, Warzone, Apex Legends, 2K, Roblox, Minecraft crowd that is consistently played all the time. It just Helldivers.
It's dedicated service though. I kind of feel like it's dedicated service, so it kind of needs ongoing income, right?
Sure.
Maybe
I mean, they sold
you put it on
12.
Xbox.
You sold 12 million copies, so
yeah. But
I mean, you made your money clearly.
Put it on Xbox, though, man.
I mean, sure, why not? But they won't even put Lego Horizon on Xbox, so.
Yeah, no one's playing Lego Horizon. But dude, if they put Helldivers on Xbox, it will clean up, man.
Sure, it would do really well, absolutely, no doubt about it. But also, sort of feel like anytime you do these sort of things, and it's like every game's gonna lose this audience over a period of time. You know, Pal World had 2 million people playing it, and I think they didn't. Pal World just released its first update or first expansion or whatever the heck.
Yes, it did. Palworld did, yeah.
Is its numbers back up to the 2 millions?
Not the 2 millions, but it's grown significantly.
Well, tell me
I
what
think.
Pal World's at right now.
Bear with me a moment.
Because sometimes this is just the natural cycle of these things, and Helldivers sold more than anybody expected. It was a great game by a lot of people's estimations, and maybe it doesn't. It's just not going to be one of those games that sticks around forever in the high echelon of player counts for live service titles. You know?
So Palworld obviously it's not hitting 2 million, but it's grown since the 27th steadily up to 135,000 concurrent players, which is pretty damn significant. If you look at Helldivers 2, for example, Helldivers 2 is at where's the Steam stats here? Charts. Helldivers 2 is at 44,000, which is also it's very respectable, Mr. Toxin Chat says Palworld isn't game as a service. I mean, kind of is, man. I mean, if they're adding huge new areas to the game, that makes it a game as a service. Starfield has 10,000 players, which is wild for a single player game, I think.
I think that number obviously go up when the expansion comes out. Probably quite a bit, actually. Whenever that expansion comes out, because where is it? I don't know.
Yeah, probably later.
Well, maybe Gamescom. We'll find out when that expansion's releasing. You would think it'd be 1 year anniversary. Here's the expansion, but Xbox is also releasing Age of Mythology. Then Stalker 2's on the 5th. Astro Boy or Astrobot is like the 6th, and Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2's on the 9th. It's crowded in September, man.
It is crowded. Guess how many players are in Elden Ring right now?
How many?
519,000.
That's pretty good.
Over 500,000.
Yeah.
Pretty sick, right?
I mean, Elden Ring sold a lot of copies, so people were waiting for this DLC. Has the reviews gone any better on Steam at all? Is it gone from mixed to positive or?
Yeah, it's mostly positive now. 91%. I'm sure it'll go up even more. I think people just like, I see this in Warcraft sometimes where like they add something new and people's like, oh my god, I hate it, and it's just like, yeah, but you haven't used it properly. And now that people have upgraded their skibidi tree fragments, then now they're enjoying it, But I think like when you've gotten used to being super powerful in a game and then suddenly you've lost all your power. It does feel weird to get back into it. You think, oh my god, this is super hard. I'm level 170 in Elden Ring, and I should be, clowning these bosses. But yeah, you can't because you've got to level up your skibidi tree fragments.
And we got Down Taku with the 2 that says he says the Switch Pro controller is the best, Rand. Hey man, that's just your opinion, but for me it can't be because it switches the buttons.
Oh, I hate that.
And it blows my mind every single time when I was using it. I would be like, what B button? Like what?
Yeah. Oh, Atreyu in chat says, look up Justice League. Suicide Squad.
Oh god, Suicide Squad probably has like 50 people playing it. Watch.
Oh no, Suicide Squad has exploded in popularity over the last week.
Ooh, okay.
We currently have 566 players.
That's not bad. You know what game hit like an all-time? Was
no, but dude, you don't understand, Rand. That's a 500% increase. It's up from it's up from 90 players last week.
Gee, why are so many people playing Suicide Squad?
Did he get a new character or something?
No, I don't think so.
It's on sale.
Maybe it's on sale. Maybe the Steam sales isn't the Steam sale happening. Maybe it's on sale.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Hey, Forza Horizon 4 hit some huge concurrent marks when it got delisted because people were like, "All right, better go buy this game." I don't know if you saw that. Did you check that out? Check out Forza Horizon 4.
Oh, good idea. But Forza Horizon 4 is... You don't get a free copy on Steam, right?
No, you don't.
Jeez. Oh, Forza Horizon 4 is doing really well, actually.
Well, yeah, because it's I think it's really cheap on Steam right now because of the listing, so everybody went and bought it.
So Forza Horizon 4 was at 6,000 players last week, and now it's at 75,000 players.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
Big Alpha Man with the 5 says, "What's Tom Waring hinting at when he says it will all make sense soon when replying to Special Nick about the cloud strategy and not needing a box?"
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you.
Maybe it has to do with the fact that... I mean, I don't know either, but maybe it has to do with the fact that Microsoft is going to announce that your own games are going to come to Game Pass Ultimate soon. So any game that you own is going to be playable, and maybe that makes a lot more sense for Amazon Fire Stick, that your whole library will be with you instead of just games on Game Pass.
I do. They are working on it, and from what I've heard, it's on track for either the next quarter or towards the end of the year. But we're getting pretty close to having that reality. It won't be all of your games though. There are some publishers that haven't signed up for it. So I don't know which publishers have and haven't signed up for it, but some of them haven't, which, you know, will ultimately preclude you from having access to some of those games. And I think that's just because they've either got their own plans in streaming, or they've got, like, you know, other things they want to do, or they've already got like a deal in place with someone else maybe, and they can't do it contractually. But I'm told it's going to be a significant amount of games, like most of your games, maybe for some people like all of your games, but there will be some missing, I think.
Interesting. Yeah, but I mean,
I hope I get Elden Ring.
Maybe Elden Ring would be on there. That'd be fun. Yeah, but I don't know what Tom's hinting at when he says it'll make sense soon, in regards to
might
like,
be it.
the marketing beat of whatever Xbox is doing. iSiler with the $4.99 says, "I'm convinced there's another universe that's buying GTA 5 at this point. People love their GTA, man. What can you say? GTA 6 is going to be a watershed moment. That's for sure. Like the lead up to that. Just, you guys remember when the trailer dropped, how crazy everybody was with the leak trailer, and then they dropped the trailer the next day and how many views it has. Like, people have been waiting. Dude, this is 13 years in the making. Well, let's see. How many years? Because GTA 5 came out in 2013, so 12 years, essentially.
That's a long time.
It is a long time. And I, for one, am super excited. Like, Grand Theft Auto, whew. I haven't played Grand Theft Auto 5 since 2013.
You know, one thing I wonder, like, I got a conspiracy theory. Well, it's
Alright,
not really a conspiracy theory.
What is it?
Do you think Take-Two purposefully doesn't release a PC version because they want to help the console manufacturers?
No, they don't release the PC version because they know all the PC guys will buy it on console because they won't want to miss it, and then they'll buy it again and double dip on the PC.
I ain't double dipping, bro.
Well, you may not, but other people will. The people that
I've double dipped on I've double dipped on Elden Ring though. I double dipped on Diablo. Man, I have double dipped quite a lot when they don't let me. I double dip even more if they added cross save to this shit. But a lot of the devs don't, which is really annoying. Right here.
What about how much the game's going to cost?
Oh, do you think it'll be more than usual?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, would you?
I think I would be surprised.
Would you be surprised if it came out and it was $100 for the game?
I would be surprised.
Yeah. You
I
think,
would
you think
genuinely
it's
be
going to be
surprised.
$70 straight up, just like every other game? This is
I think
Grand
so,
Theft
yeah.
Auto 6 we're talking. If there's a game that could get away with it, it's this game.
Yeah, I think that could get away with it, but they will be blamed for other devs starting to do it.
No. What other devs could charge $100 for a game and sell
Call of
millions?
Duty?
Call of Duty?
Well, maybe not now it's on Game Pass. Maybe that's how you drive Game Pass adoption. You just
By
be
the
like,
way,
oh, yeah,
new Call of Duties are now $100, but it's in Game Pass.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto said you guys will pay this much, so we've decided to make Call of Duty this much. But hey, you can always get it in Game Pass, guys.
I guess those are maybe the two franchises that could, but I don't know.
Minecraft 2.
I'm not really sure anybody else. Maybe Elden Ring 2?
I can't see them doing that. They are so pro, like their consumer. Those guys.
Yeah.
I don't think they do that.
I mean, it's kind of crazy that they make this $50 expansion that's like bigger than most games.
Yeah.
$50 and it's DLC when most DLC for games is like $50 skin for a game. You know, that took some junior artist like 5 hours to make. Right.
Yeah.
Down in Taku with the 5 says, "No, you don't. No, you didn't. Nintendo had that button layout since the SNES. Xbox and PlayStation messed it up. Now Xbox and PlayStation perfected it. Sorry, Down in Taku. Just that whole layout just blows my mind. And you know, you don't want to think about anything. Like when I say I play inverted, people are like, "Don't you got to think about it?" Like, no, inverted is just natural for me. I don't got to think about anything.
Oh man, I completely forgot you play inverted.
I do
Now
play
I'm triggered.
inverted.
See, now that is just so strange to me.
But it feels so natural, bro. I need to think
Whoa,
about anything.
What, man? Makes me shiver. It's weird. Man.
I don't
It's
understand
fucking
how
weird.
you can play normal. I don't get it.
Dude, it's lit. Yeah, the clue's in the name. Normal. It's not normal to play inverted. What? How did you end up like this?
I don't know how I ended up like this. I don't know how I
dropped-
ended up being an inverted boy.
You were dropped on your head as a child. I think that's how people end up playing inverted. They get dropped on the head as a child. Did you get dropped on your head, Ryan?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I did in kindergarten. I did get a concussion.
Oh shit! There it is. That's
I
your canon event. You got a concussion and now you play inverted.
I guess I'll tell you story time. So when I was like in first grade or kindergarten, we were at the gym, you know, for school, and I guess there are these bouncy balls you could play on. At least the way the story my parents tell it to me or have told it to me, because I don't remember it. But apparently, like
how old?
kindergarten,
How
first
old?
grade. So
First grade.
I'd be like
What's
super
that?
young,
It's real.
6, 7, I don't know.
6, 7. Okay.
But apparently, I jumped on one of the bouncy balls and then bounced off of it and landed headfirst on the cold, hard gym floor.
Oof.
And they took me to the principal's office, you know, to see the doctor and everything. And I guess I was complaining that I wasn't feeling good. Those type of things. Like, there was no blood or anything. Just smacked my head really hard on the ground. And then I went home. And
Started playing inverted.
well, no, I went home and I told my mom I didn't feel good, and apparently then I started bleeding out of my ears.
Oh Jesus!
So then I went to the hospital and like the doctors were like, "Yeah, he had a concussion." And so then my mom went to the school
That's crazy.
and was like, "Oh, Matt's sick. He's got a concussion. Did something happen at
Understatement.
school?" Like, "Oh yeah, Matt, banged his head off the gym floor." And my mom was like, "You didn't
No
tell
biggie.
us?" And like, "Oh well, he seemed fine." And he's like, "But you didn't tell us?" So there was this big, huge thing between my parents and like the school and stuff. So, but yeah, I had a concussion as a kid. So maybe that's why I play inverted. I don't know. It's probably it has to do with something I played
alright.
when I was younger. But
Did you ever play like a flight combat game? Because I will say, for some reason, I play flying games inverted. I don't know why that is. I think it's because like you press down to pull make the tail of the plane go down. I don't know. I play flying games inverted. I do. So, like what was that Star Wars flying game that came out a while ago? I can't remember its name.
old school what?
What Squadrons? Star Wars Squadrons, and Battlefront, like flying the jets in that. I was playing inverted in that, but any other game. It's so weird playing inverted. That was one of the issues I had with Kunitsugami actually when I played that.
Yeah.
So Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, I played that at Summer Game Fest. I don't know if it was just the dev build I was on, but that was inverted by default. I was like, no, can I turn this off? And luckily I could, but it reminded me of you, Rand. It reminded me of you.
How many people in chat play inverted? Let me know. If you play inverted, just give me a hell yeah, because I'm sure there's some people in here that are inverted. Yeah, we got Rob Baller. Inverted is the best. Damn straight it is. Sean LeBreeze up in here. Thank you, Sean, for your incredible intro. By the way, you always like anytime he's like, oh, Sean dropped this, and I look at him like, God damn, Sean is amazing. So good.
You didn't ask the follow-up question though.
What's the follow-up question?
Were you dropped on your head as a child? Do you play inverted, and were you dropped? Did you have a concussion when you were a child?
No, I did have a concussion, but no, I wasn't. I just don't really know why.
Wait, I want to know if people in chat were dropped on their head.
Oh well, yeah, I guess they want you to know. Maybe it's something to do with the flying game, but I just don't remember.
Yeah, I played Colony Wars a lot as a kid. That was inverted, I suppose. What about Star Fox? Was that inverted? No, I wouldn't have been. It's more arcade style. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess I'm just awful. Inversion. Did you ever play? Did you ever play Inversion?
No.
On the 360. What an awful game that was.
What is that?
It was a game on the 360. One of those games that copied Gears, like a third person shooter, like a lot of those games back then. So everybody's saying they cracked their head on concrete when they were a kid. Now they play inverted. I guess that's the thing holding us, threading us all together, is the fact that we all banged our head on the ground really hard.
Should we do some Patreon Q&As?
Sure. Let's get to some of these Patreon questions. All right, let me bring up good old Patreon. You guys too can join the Patreon at patreon.com/XB2. We're gonna have to have Gaz. Maybe we could get Gaz on this month or next month for Xbox 2+1. Have the Sauce Meister on.
I'm down for that.
That'd be fun.
Love me a bit of gas in the evening.
And see anybody else that we can get to come on as well. See what people want. Nate Miller says, I've gotten on board with the idea of Gear 6 being a long expansion. See? When I say it, Jez?
Yeah, I'm not totally against that.
You're not totally against. So long as it's told from Marcus's point of view and his story is unequivocally wrapped up. However, I hope there's only one E-Day game and they start to explore other stories in the Gears universe with new characters. I wouldn't mind that as well. But we've seen people's reaction to like the kids and new stories within that timeline, and people were super excited to go back to Marcus. I don't know. People said the same thing about Halo. They want to see more stories in Halo, but you never get them. And maybe it's just because how expensive games are to make now and how long they take to make, where they just can't do that anymore, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
So it's just this single game. But I'm 100% down for the idea of here's Gears E-Day and the expansion is the finale of Gears 6. I would be 100% for it. And now we move into Gears. I don't know, because I guess you have to wonder if they could tell the whole story of E-Day in a single game. Can they? I don't know.
14 years.
But there's a lot of story you could probably tell within E-Day from the time it happens to the beginning of Gears 1. You could probably get 3 games out of it, if not more.
Yeah.
And also you gotta think, I think the voice actors for Dom and Marcus, they ain't getting any younger. So
yeah, but
if-
this is the thing. It's exactly it. You can't just do Mox and Dom forever.
yes.
You've got to move on eventually. No.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess then you move on to a new IP. I don't know. Something brand new. I mean, can you do Gears forever?
Yeah, I suppose.
At some point, hey, all good things got to come to an end. At some point, you got to start something new, something fresh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Has no pants says Jez. Any insight into the controller revamp Sybil and or the Elite Series 3 for this holiday season? Do you think it will instead be something that launches with the next Xbox? Rumored 2026. Thanks.
I think it probably is the next Xbox at this point, maybe.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I've got a feeling that all those documents that leaked, they were all like pitch decks. They were like, we could make this if we wanted to. Like that cylindrical Xbox. And they're probably just like, nah, let's skip that. So I don't think we're getting that cylindrical trash can looking Xbox. But who knows, man? Who knows?
I think Sybil will launch with the next console. That'll be like the refresh controller. They'll talk about haptics and all that stuff. An Elite Series 3 could. See, I guess that would say, well, you could have an Elite Series 3. Do you then save the Elite Series 3 for next generation? Or could you do one? Because that was in the leaks, was a new Elite controller. Maybe you still could do it for this year? Maybe that's something you announced at a Gamescom?
Maybe.
Potentially, or maybe that's something you do next year. I don't know. I guess it really, if Sebo was supposed to come out this year, then they could do Elite controller because it would have the haptics. I guess if the Elite 3 has haptics, then maybe you have to push that until after they launch the controller. I guess that would be my line of thinking. Silas says, what do you think the realistic impact on an Xbox handheld could make in the market? I just can't see it being a driver of new consumers into the ecosystem. In the handheld space, you have the mass appeal of the Switch and the Switch 2, and on the other side, you have the PC-friendly Steam Deck, possible Steam Deck 2 in 2025 or 2026. I'm not sure there is space for a third vertical in the area, unless Microsoft markets it as a supplement to the main consoles like the PS Portal. I'm very much in agreement with your line of thinking there, Silas. I also don't really see how a handheld is going to bring in new customers. I definitely think it's something that should be done for, a supplemental experience, but I think Jez disagrees with me on this one, though. So
it'll be the only way to take your Xbox games on the go, because right now, at least right now, this could change, but right now they don't have the licenses to sell you those games on the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck. So like, if I'm someone who wants to play my Elden Ring save on my Xbox, I need Xbox hardware to do that, or the cloud. Now the cloud is not always available. When I was like flying back from America, definitely not being able to play cloud on that shit. So you kind of have to sort of figure out, where your compromises are. And right now, for Xbox, it's like, well, how do I play Xbox game natively outside of my house? It's not possible. It's not possible right now. But they could easily fix that if they had a good old handheld,
Yeah, I could. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm not like a mobile person or a handheld person. These sort of things, I don't really see there being a lot of... Like, people talk about the Steam Deck like it's this colossal beating 40 million seller device when it's not. I think it's only sold.
No, it's not.
But the way people talk about it, the way it's referred to in articles and journalists talk about it, it makes it seem like
enthusiasts love it.
Enthusiasts
love it and
do love it. Yes.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I think he's right in saying that this isn't going to necessarily lead to tons of brand new Xbox users. Maybe I think that's correct potentially, but for Xbox fans who want to engage in the Xbox platform, buy microtransactions and all that kind of stuff, right now Microsoft is bottlenecked by Google and Apple, if they had one platform, mobile platform that they could control themselves, that is more affordable than a full-blown gaming PC laptop, you know, or more usable or more affordable even than the Asus ROG Ally, the Lenovo Legion Go, because you know those are expensive devices, man. They're powerful, but they're expensive, very, very expensive. And to sort of get a device that's similar in price to the Steam Deck, just for the Xbox ecosystem, that maybe can plug into the TV. I think it could do for Xbox with a casual audience what the Series S did to some degree, maybe. I think the Series S is more popular with new to Xbox users than the Series X is. So I would think about it more in that vein of like, this replaces the Series S range. But, you know, could be wrong. It's an optimistic take. Maybe there's just no way to grow a console. Maybe there's just no way. Maybe we're doomed. 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 And the game prices have to go up.
Florida Brand says, what's up, fellas? Thank God it's Friday. Am I right? Well, it's technically Saturday, but yes. I just wanted to ask, what is a game in your back catalog that you want to finish but can't bring yourself to start? Thanks again, fellas, and have a good weekend.
There's a lot of games that I've half started that I haven't finished. Persona being one of them before you say it ran. But also like stuff like Dragon Quest 12. Is it 12 or 11? I think it's 11, right? Dragon Quest 11, the one that came to Xbox. I haven't finished that yet, and I want to because I was really enjoying it. And also, some of the other Souls-like games, like Dark Souls 2, I haven't finished. Oh, I haven't even played Dark Souls 3 yet. Obviously, I'm trying to finish Elden Ring, and I think I'll succeed with that pretty soon. But those would be mine. I also want to play Lies of P. I'm on a Souls-like kick again now, so...
Yeah.
What about you, Rand?
What game in your back catalog you want to finish but can't bring yourself to start? I think it's none, really.
Yeah, Rand actually has time to play games, unlike me.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just that even when I look at my back catalog, it's not like I can't bring myself to start any of these games. It's just, you know, other games come out or other commitments. There isn't anything on there. Like there's Liza P, there's Armored Core 6, there's Baldur's Gate 3.
Core, I need to finish that.
You know, there's some of those stuff, but I can't bring myself. It's not the issue of starting them. It's just I don't know.
There's just a lot to play.
Yeah.
Right?
There's just a lot going on, so Cyberpunk's the one kind of been my white whale for a while now, so I'm like, all right, I'm stabbeth thee from hell's heart.
Have you read that book?
I read it back a long time ago. I think I read it back in the day. I don't understand when I read it for school, but I have read Moby Dick. Been a long time, though.
Moby Dick.
Dave Ramos. Gents, happy Tarnished weekend. Jez, how does it feel to be COVID-less in the lands between? Also...
Oh, man. That COVID sucked.
Yeah.
It was very brief, but it sucked.
Also, Jez, in a previous episode, I think you mentioned you believe the Xbox handheld will be a full-blown Xbox experience. How much of that belief is grounded in what you personally would like to see, and how much of that belief comes from the concern that Xbox and Microsoft might not be able to deliver a seamless Xbox PC hybrid experience? For example, one, it's not like there's a fan club for the Microsoft Store on Windows, and two, there are some grab-style Microsoft Store games can offer a worse experience when compared to the same game on Steam or EGS.
I am concerned that, like, Xbox can't get... The issue is, like, the Xbox versions of games, right? The Xbox versions of games require very specific hardware requirements. And can you fit that hardware requirement into a console? And if you're not fitting that hardware requirement into a console, then the issue potentially becomes, like, do you have the licenses to do this from a more of a PC perspective? Because if it's a PC, then Microsoft doesn't have the licenses to do a PC version of the game, at least to my knowledge right now. It might be something they're working on fixing. And you can fix that with money. It's just money at the end of the day. But those developers might just be like, yeah, we're happy with Steam. We don't want you to sell the PC versions, please. You know, we're going to see a bit of this when they announce bring your own games to Game Pass, cloud. Because some developers are just going to be like, yeah, we don't want people to be able to buy Xbox games on the cloud, so can you not sell those, please? They could be the same way if Microsoft made a PC-oriented Xbox handheld, right? So I don't think it's a surefire thing either way. And which is why, like, I haven't put out a report yet because I don't really know if this is going to be more of a PC, if this is going to be more of an Xbox, or if it's going to be some weird hybrid in the middle where Microsoft has to brute force all the licenses. I have absolutely no idea. But personally speaking, I think it has to be the Xbox versions of the games with my Xbox saves and my Xbox licenses. I don't think if it's another PC, I don't know why you buy it over one of the PC handhelds that are already there. That market's already hitting the saturation point, I think. You know, you got Lenovo, you got the Intel ones coming in, AMD is going to be doing more. You know, who knows if eventually there's going to be Nvidia handhelds. You know, I just think like your unique selling point, whether Microsoft likes it or not, sometimes it feels like they don't like this. Their unique selling point is the fact that it's Xbox and it's Xbox versions of games, you know. So that's what it has to be for me. Will they achieve that? I guess time will tell.
All right. We have one here from Sierra Woman Kevin. Lads, appreciate everything you do. Pour one out for the Banjo Bros. Game first released 26 years ago today. Thinking about your conversation about the new Gears and should they go back to Gear 6 to complete that trilogy, I think they should, but Rand, your comment that would probably come out in 2030 really hit home. You would have a large group of gamers that may not even know and or care about that story by then. With game development taking so long, leaving long gaps between continuing a story if it's a trilogy blockbuster style game, what approach would you feel is appropriate? 1, a 4 to 5 year gap between story is okay. 2, continue the story through expansions for a shorter turnaround. Or 3, shorten the scope and length of the game so a tighter cadence between could be achieved. AI could change this conversation in a couple years as well. Finally, I finished Hellblade 2 this week. Loved the story, loved the acting, and how they portrayed the feeling of vulnerability with Senua and also a feeling of empathy towards certain villains. That is something not often seen in games. That's true. That's 100% true. But yeah, I like this question here about, you know, what approach is more, would you go with, like a 4 to 5 year gap? Although the Gears games always kind of had either a 2 year gap or a 3 year gap, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you go to a 4 year gap? Do you just continue it through mode and all these different playlists for the multiplayer aspect with it? You know, is it going to be free to play where the campaign's $60? We don't even know about their financial sell-in, right? Is it like a multiplayer going to be free to play and then you just buy the campaign like Halo Infinite? There's like so many things that we don't know about the current game itself, let alone what their plans are for future titles. And if you had to guess right now, Jez, do you think Gears E-Day will just be a whole package, $60, $70, most likely $70, and it's just everything multiplayer, co-op, and single player? Or do you think they do what Halo did and kind of split E-Day into a free-to-play multiplayer versus a paid campaign stuff?
I think you kind of have to do the free-to-play thing these days.
Well, PlayStation's not. I mean, Helldivers was $40 and Concord's $40.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
I don't know. Maybe those decisions haven't been made yet, or they're still debating those decisions. I don't know.
Yeah, I did try and tease some multiplayer answers out of them when I was there, but you know, I did get maybe the impression that they do have plans, but you know, I don't know how far along they are. I guess time will tell.
Yeah, we'll see. Sick and Tired says, gents, I had a wondering, and I thought I would get the two's opinion. Microsoft now has a stable of some of the best game engines around. id Tech, Forza Tech, and IW7 among others. Do you think Microsoft could develop a super engine, taking the best of all their own engines to then put out to rival Unreal Engine? There's really only Unreal and Unity at this point, and Unity is no real competition for the high-end market. I think Epic need the competition, and Microsoft is the company in the best position to put out a compelling game engine. They have the software chops and already have the framework for customer support as well. Is it feasible?
I think Microsoft has not done well putting new development platforms into the universe in recent years. Like, they made the whole UWP thing, and UWP was, I don't want to say flop, but not a lot of people are leveraging it these days. And Microsoft's like actively been going back to Win32. I'm not a great person to ask this question, I suppose, because I'm not that clued up on what the complexities of actually building an engine out would be. But I don't get the impression that there's a lot of appetite for that within Microsoft right now. And we all heard about how Halo's engine was to blame for a lot of the issues that game had. And, you know, they do have id Engine and all this kind of stuff, but, you know, when you're building like dev teams and stuff, it's often much cheaper and much more effective and quicker to just go with something that everyone's currently using. And everyone currently uses Unreal Engine, which kind of makes it difficult to justify adding another engine to the mix. You know, maybe that's naive. I don't know, but
I mean, I get what he's saying, because it's like you have Forza Tech, you have id, you have, you know, Call of Duty's engine. It's like you could sell those and maybe people would use them, but then
yeah,
but if you did that, you'd probably also have to hire up, because then you'd have to have people on who are masters of that engine that would have to then go and whose jobs it would be to help other studios with their engines, or those engines if you sold them. And I do think you're right in the sense that I think Microsoft would rather have their studios use Unreal, because Unreal's like supported pretty well by Epic, and I think Microsoft's probably one of the biggest clients of Unreal Engine. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So if there's any issues or any sort of things, it's, you know, Epic's there to help, or even companies within Xbox could help. Yeah, so I kind of agree with Jez.
All of Xbox's companies use Unreal now. Like even if Hellblade didn't sell spectacularly well, Ninja Theory is a prolific Unreal Engine dev, so they can deliver value to the Xbox ecosystem by being a support studio of Unreal Engine, and obviously they are spectacularly good at using Unreal Engine. Which is why, like, I always cringe when I see journalists having this take, like, oh, Hellblade didn't sell, therefore Ninja Theory is going to get shut down. It's like, no, I mean, they can derive a lot of value out of Ninja Theory in other ways. It's not just always about just selling games sometimes. When you're an big integrated studio, I think someone made a really great point, and there's like, oh, Nintendo doesn't shut down studios. And it's like, yeah, because Nintendo doesn't name their studios. Nintendo, like, probably has as many layoffs as anyone else, but you never hear about it because none of those studios have names. And I did hear, by the way, Ran, just to go off on a slight tangent. I want to say did I hear it was Don Matrick?
Oh, Don Matrick.
I heard that or was it Terry Myerson? It might have been Terry Myerson. Someone recommended that Microsoft get rid of names for their studios so they wouldn't have to deal with that criticism of like, oh, studio's been shut down, you know. And Phil didn't want to do that because he wanted teams to feel like they have an identity and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think
just a random little tidbit there for you.
The best decision there. Good old Collinwood says, happy end of financial year, Rand and Jez. That's right. It's about to be the end of the financial year for Microsoft. Start of the new fiscal year.
Ooh, layoffs time.
Yeah, layoffs. You think we'll see Microsoft layoffs next month?
Maybe, but also there's a good reason to say no, because the PC market's projected to rebound with this new wave of Snapdragon stuff. So maybe not, but we'll see. Maybe that's optimistic.
He goes, Rand, I remember way back when you would do videos on Xbox sales and put out your recommendations on the Best Buys. Could you make a video on the 360 storefront and make suggestions on what to get before the storefront closes for good? And Jez, does the introduction of Xbox to the Amazon store mean that Microsoft are a lot more confident in delivering a quality experience to cloud gaming?
I think Microsoft feels like they've already got a pretty good experience. And I would say they have overall. There is some obvious drawbacks, like the latency is not as good as NVIDIA GeForce Now, and the bitrate's not as good. They don't do 4K either. They focus more on. They do tend to focus on latency over bitrate and resolution and stuff like that. But I think like they're obviously working towards improving that, and from what I've heard, there are already plans in place for what the next generation of server blades look like. So it's obviously a future-proofing tactic here. They're not giving up on cloud. There's new cloud hardware on the way and stuff like that.
Yeah. I used to make a lot of the Xbox sales stuff, and then all the sales basically became the exact same with the same games on sale at the same prices, and I find myself just repeating myself for much of the video, and I was just like, I'm kind of done making those. As for the 360 store, I'd have to go and look to see which even games are on sale. I would say if it's a game you want, you might as well just buy it just to have it. I mean, aren't the sales numbers, aren't they selling a lot of these games for like $5 or something? I'd have to look and see what stuff is on sale, but there's a lot of great 360 games, and if their sales numbers are that low, then you should probably just get them just to have them. Hell, I've bought some games that were cheap to own, knowing that I probably would never play them. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this for $5, but I know I'm never gonna play it. I just want to have it, Sith Lord says, a review of The Bear Season 3, please. Well, I am only 5 episodes in, and it's still as fantastic as ever. Episode 1 was just a masterclass of TV, period. I have seen some people I have seen the reviews aren't as high as previous seasons, because I think this one season there's less focus on pushing the restaurant angle and the story there, versus it's all like character focused, and sometimes people don't like that, and I think that's one of the reasons why the reviews aren't as high. But hey, I watched 5 episodes in one night. I just couldn't stop. I still got another 5 episodes to go. I was probably going to watch that tonight or tomorrow. But I love that show. It's great. It's probably the best show on television. Everybody should watch it. Jazz, you should watch it if you haven't already. It's absolutely stellar. Trickstar for Trey says, just wondering why can't Microsoft drop ABK games and Game Pass in between their big releases? That way it would keep people sub for longer stretches and give them a reason to keep Game Pass. Do you think it's because of the FTC things, or they just can't figure out when to drop the games in Game Pass? Anyways, thanks for the entertainment weekend and out. It's been shitty dealing with our sick dog. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that about your dog. It's always it's rough when you have a sick pet. But yeah, me and Jez have discussed this before. I don't know what the strategy is with the ABK stuff. I mean, I guess Diablo made sense because you get it into Game Pass and it's right before the new season. Okay, fair enough. And you wonder, okay, all the games are already on the Xbox store. They're all there. All the Call of Duty games, all the Call of Duty Xbox games, the back compat stuff. All those games are there. Is the holdup PC? Like, are they building PC versions of these games for some of them? Like, we know there's a Spyro version that suddenly showed up in the Windows Store and a Crash version. So we know that those ports exist, or at least they're coming at some point. Is that the holdup? It's because they're building these new PC versions, and it's like, okay, it's just a matter of getting that work done. Do they not want to release all the Call of Duty games before the brand new Call of Duty because it would take some shine away from the new one. Where it was like, okay, well, here's the new COD, but then again, you also have like these 20 other COD games that you can play, and maybe they feel it would take players and engagement away from the new COD. Like, the new COD's the one that's going to make you the money, as you know, as well as like the recent ones. Like, if you put the 360 CODs on back and pat, and you put them on Game Pass, there's no way for them to make money, right? And I'm not saying that's what I'm saying. If you're looking at it from the business perspective, maybe they don't necessarily want that right now, because someone playing Modern Warfare 1 on the 360 isn't spending any money because there's no way to spend money on that game. But then somebody who's playing Call of Duty Black Ops 6 or Modern Warfare 2023 could be spending money because there's microtransactions and all that stuff. So maybe they want to hold off on the old CODs for as long as they can. Maybe it's some FTC stuff. I don't know. Could be a whole bunch of reasons.
And the FTC, like, we forget about the FTC a lot, I think, when it comes to Xbox's current messaging strategy and all that kind of stuff. I do wonder if we'll see a shift once that's all over with, because I do know Microsoft really desperately doesn't want to slip up here when it comes to dealing with them. And there is some signs that the FTC is moving away from caring so much about it. I think one of their main lawyers like announced they're moving on from the case, for example. But yeah, I don't know. Microsoft's strategy is difficult to read sometimes because it's always about what is the strategy for not this quarter, not the next quarter, but the next quarter, you know. And it's funny because like even in my own company, I see this where they're like, oh, okay, like we have to do this and this and this. Everything's like a struggle right now. And then it's like they'll get some projections in. It's like, oh, actually, we're doing really well. So now here's a bunch of money so you can invest in growing the business, you know. You never know it's going to go. And we just have to we're just all along for the ride, man.
You know, we talk about this, and watch Xbox surprise us by releasing, like, last year's Call of Duty in Game Pass next month or something. Like, all this discussion about, like, Call of Duty and in Game Pass and, like, why isn't it all there? And then, like, boom, next month, they're like, starting this month, here's the new Call of Duty or something. And it was like, well, there we go. But,
and then, like, a week after that, they've dropped Crash in there or something.
We'll have to wait and see. Achievement says, Rand, I know you're probably going to say no. Okay. But hear me out, because I actually like encumberment in games. Ugh, Achievement. Really, bro? I mean, hey, you do you. But I
actually think it's quite immersive.
He says, so let's try and meet in the middle. How would you feel if Bethesda's encumberment system was like Death Stranding? If you're encumbered, it just adds a mechanic where you have to balance your character until you unload.
Oh. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I tried to keep my... That's one of the reasons why I tried to keep my encumbrance lower in Death Stranding, because I didn't want to have to do the balance thing. But I mean, I also don't have the problem in Starfield where I needed to pick up literally every object, though. So I wasn't really over encumbered that often. And when I started to get encumbered, I would like give my stuff to my companions.
Which companion did you use mainly?
I used Vasco in the beginning, and then I think I used Sarah.
Yeah, it's all about Vasco.
Then I used Sam. Then it was all about Sam.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's one of those things where it sucks because you get encumbered and then you can't fast travel. That was one of the penalties, right? And I was fast traveling everywhere. And then you can't run fast. You really lose your breath. Like, if you like that stuff, then that's great. It's kind of like for me, like crafting in games, or you know, you're using a weapon and it breaks and you gotta reforge it. I'm not the biggest fan of those mechanics. Or like drinking water in games and stuff. And encumberment's just one of those things where I get it, why it's implemented, because they don't want you to pick up literally everything. They want you to think about it and be like, is this worth picking up? But then again, I didn't really run into it that much because maybe I ran into it a little bit in the beginning because I was picking up all the different weapons to sell. But towards the middle and end, I wasn't picking up a lot of stuff because I had a whole bunch of money and I had all the weapons I could have wanted. So I would just glance at the weapon to see if it was better than any of the current ones I had. And if it wasn't, I would move on. And I wasn't just picking up random coffee pots and stuff that a lot of people do when they play these Bethesda games.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Bethesda's itemization. I like how it's just all randomized loot. I think it's fine in Fallout 76, but I hate it in single player games. I much prefer Elden Ring's method of like, oh, you go somewhere, you find something like fixed that's badass, maybe, or just not for your build. I don't know. It's just me though. I know that's not exactly relevant to the question. I don't mind over encumbering games because I just see it as like another aspect of immersion, and I feel like Bethesda games are all about immersion and management and stuff like that, which is why I like the survival mechanics as well in those kind of games. That being said, like if Elden Ring had encumbrance, I think it would drive me crazy on top of all the other difficulty aspects of it. In Elden Ring, you can just carry like 50 greats hammers if you want.
Let's see. We have Johnny says, "Hey Rand, I don't know if you've kept up with Dealer, but I've been wondering how he's going. RDX and Xbox 2 have been my go-to podcast for years. I also have a question for Jez. My friend is looking at a new headset. I know you have done a lot of headset reviews. He's looking between the Astro A20s and the Xbox wireless headset. I guess which one would you recommend?"
Oh, A20s or Xbox wireless headset? That's a really good question. I personally, now, I think the A20s are better overall.
Better.
But I haven't used the Xbox headset since they've updated them. They have updated them a lot, and they've updated the software and firmware and stuff like that. And apparently they're pretty good now. So maybe the Xbox headset has an edge there. I think do the A20s have Bluetooth? I don't think they do. At least the older model didn't. I mean, with the Xbox headset, you do get that Bluetooth option as well. I don't think you get that with the A20s, or at least not the older ones. So maybe the Xbox headset's more versatile. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the A20 had better audio though, but that was before firmware updates.
Yeah, as for
some recent reviews, maybe.
As for Dealer, I mean, you know, as far as I know, he's doing okay. He's just, you know, going through. He's just doing what he's doing, bro. I mean, I don't know what else to really say about that. It's just living his life and doing what he wants to do, I guess.
He's out of content creation.
Well, maybe he just doesn't want to do it anymore. I honestly couldn't tell you, but I know he's doing well. But I don't know if he's ever going to come back or whatever. You know, it is what it is, man. Lee Sanders says, favorite ever meal from a restaurant. I still dream of the beef sandwich I had from Al's Italian Beef in Chicago in 2016.
I really like. There's a restaurant in my town that does a mean spaghetti carbonara. I'm pretty basic like that, so I love me a good carbonara, man.
I don't. You see, here's the thing. When it comes to restaurants, when you go out, I kind of get scared to order something new. Because I always sort of feel like I'm wasting my money. So when I'm at a nice restaurant, it's like I always stick within the things I know I like. So I'm less.
In case it's bad.
And yeah, because you don't want to spend, especially if it's a nice restaurant, like you don't want to spend $30 or $40 on something you never had and you don't end up liking it. And then you're like, oh man, I should have just gotten a hamburger, right? And here we go with people calling me Blandel Thor in the chat, but it has nothing to do with seasoning or whatever. It's literally being like, all right.
Don't want to take any risks.
It's like you go to a place and it's like, oh, you should try the lobster. But it's like, oh, I don't know. I've never had lobster before. And you see how expensive it is. And you're like, do I want to get lobster to even understand if I like it? Or am I just going to get a hamburger with French fries?
Man, this happened to me recently, actually. I ordered something new and I hated it and I regretted it.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, though.
Especially with how everything is so expensive now. I mean, there have been like pizzas. I remember being at Palermo's. We had a family thing, and like it was so good because it was like so hot, and the cheese was all just kind of like melting off the sides. It was so fantastic. But I can't really. I mean, there's some steaks I've had from like Outback Steakhouse or something that are pretty good, but there's really no defining moment where I think of in my head where it was like this was the best meal I've ever had at a restaurant, you know?
Mine's McDonald's.
McDonald's.
Yeah, man. I just like McDonald's. Give me more McDonald's and I'll be happy.
Bledsoe wants to know if I've never had I have actually never had lobster. Like I love shrimp. But yeah, I've actually never had lobster. I've never had crab. That was one of the things we never really.
Might be allergic.
No, I'm not allergic. We just never went to like Red Lobster or any of those restaurants when I was younger. So I never really tried or wanted to try seafood. And for a long time, I thought I didn't like shrimp either. For a long time, I would see shrimp out at family get-togethers. I wouldn't touch it because I was like, ew. Like I was very picky when I was younger. I'm still kind of picky now, but. And then I remember one time I think it was because I was hungry and I tried a shrimp and I'm like, this is really good. But yeah, I can think on my hands how many times I've been to Red Lobster in my life, and that's once. I've been to Red Lobster a single time. And I do remember a couple times we would be at places and Dad would say, get what you want. And then you'd look at the prices of the lobsters and you'd be like, no. So no, I've actually never had lobster and I never had crab. And, that's something I do want to change at some point.
When I visit
because
Chicago,
I know I like shrimp, so I probably would like those. But
when I visit Chicago, we'll have some shrimp and crab, bro.
Yeah, get some lobster, get some shrimp. Get some.
Yeah,
but sometimes I just keep it plain simple. It's like give me a hamburger, give me a beef sandwich. I always sort of forget, we would go to the restaurant isn't there anymore. Oh man, what was it called? There was this restaurant we would go to for birthdays and then for our birthdays we would, our parents would take us to go see a movie. And then we go to this restaurant afterwards. And I'm trying to think what that restaurant is now, and it's escaping my mind. It was kind of Irish themed, or at least the name. And I think I would just get hamburgers, bro. Like, seriously. I don't know.
My mom tells a story of when I was little. Where they went, when I was really young, maybe 3 or 4, they went to France and they went to a really fancy posh restaurant, right? And, what kind of food you get in a posh upmarket restaurant, all French cuisine and stuff. And apparently I got pissed off and stood on the table and yelled, I want a burger! in my thick Birmingham accent. So, yeah.
We have a couple super chats. We have Jojo with the $4.99 says, "Do you think we'll ever see a Sunset Overdrive 2? Cheers." I mean, I would say no. I mean, we've sort of seen Insomniac's leaked timeline, and it's all just a bunch of Marvel stuff until they do a new IP in the 2030s at some point. So, and you got to put yourself in Insomniac and Sony shoes. Sunset Overdrive didn't sell particularly well. At that point, it's like you could have them do Marvel games, which would bring you in a lot more money, or do something new rather than a game that is a cult classic. Why would you do Sunset Overdrive 2? So no, I don't think we'll ever see a Sunset Overdrive 2. I don't think. Would you think so, Jez? Because I don't think we will.
I personally don't think so, but
yeah. Carl with the 2 says, Jez, stop watching reality TV crap. It's brain melting. Yeah, Jez.
No, see, that's why I watch it. That is why I watch it, because I don't want to think. Sometimes I just want to completely turn off my brain, and there's no better way to turn off your brain than to listen to Kim Kardashian speak about anything.
Okay. We got Jay Rembert, $5. I think Lena will be there for 4 more years because most logical people would want a corpse than a dictatorship. I'm just saying. Well, I guess it depends on who wins. For sure. Sauce Mad Dragon with the $4.99. Imagine a spin-off Helldivers 2 type of game, but in the Gears universe. Sounds like a banger to me. What do y'all think? I mean, we've talked about that where Helldivers 2 is like, doesn't that seem like an ODST game in the Halo universe? You could easily do something like that. You easily could do something like that in Gears, the Gears universe. It works pretty well for either one of those.
Yeah, I mean, horde mode could be expanded to that easily.
Yeah. Carl, I said this one. PH8 says, Jez, Independence Day, Count Binhead beat Sunak. I don't know what that means.
Oh, man. Okay, so in England, anyone can stand to be an MP, right? You just need to pay a bunch of money.
Okay.
And there's a dude who does it every year called Count Binface. And he literally wears a trash can on his head. And he's going up against Rishi Sunak constituency as the Prime Minister. So there's a dude who wears a trash can on his head running for that right now. I think he can win. I think if he people might literally vote him in ironically, and that would be humiliating for the Prime Minister. That's how bad people hate the guy, man.
Man, okay. We have Brett with the 5. It takes 6 to 8 weeks of back-end work to bring a game to Xbox Game Pass. This is an entire catalog. Xbox probably wants to do some touching up on those titles first. I mean, maybe those titles will come to Game Pass after this new Call of Duty is out and not before. Maybe that's the thing they're looking at. Of like, get all the Call of Duty people being like, oh, the new Call of Duty's there, and then, oh, look at all these old Call of Duties. Maybe we shouldn't unsubscribe because maybe that's it, Jez. Because if you're worried about people, what's the word? Turning over, right? Like someone signs up for Game Pass to play the new Call of Duty, and you're worried about that specific user maybe turning over. But then you start dropping all the other Call of Duty games. And now that person's probably like, oh, look at all these other Call of Duty games I have. I'm going to keep this service.
Yeah.
Instead of, them already being there. I don't know how you go about it. I'm sure they have well-paid people to think about these situations and craft a game plan for them.
You'd think.
You think.
You'd think.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think.
Yes. Well, they've got a new marketing officer, new marketing strategy, so maybe they're having new thought process about a lot of things right now.
Tyrone says Jez got the most interesting stories because he's from Europe. Excuse me, Jez didn't tell a story about how he was on top of a bouncy ball and hit his head on the floor and got a concussion and had his ears bleed. He doesn't tell any Randall criminal stories. Rand's got the best stories, by far. Jez got stories about ants in his room. I mean, come on.
I got rid of them, though.
You got rid of them, but come on. Rand stories are the best stories. We all know this. We all know this in chat. Randall Bland is the best, right? Yes. Jez. Well, unless there's anything else you want to talk about, I think we've come to the end of the show, which would be our first show, probably not to get close to 4 hours in a long time. So.
Nope. Rock and roll, baby.
Yeah, I guess with that, we will bid adieu. And we will, are we going to do anything on Tuesday? Are we going to do like Xbox 2 Ultimate or something?
We could do.
We could do Xbox 2 Ultimate?
Oh no, not this Tuesday.
Not this Tuesday?
But yeah, the Tuesday after.
The week
we'll
after.
come up with some good stuff.
Yeah.
Either streams or guest shows, and a lot of stuff on the docket. A lot of people we're talking to for the guest shows, and Yeah, and on Patreon you get guaranteed Q&As. So, trying to think of ways to expand it. I mean, some of it's just time constraints.
Yeah, the Don
but-
says the real question is where's Scalebound? Ask Special Nick.
Yeah.
Although I
Nick's
would
the best
imagine
guy.
that game's probably dead because it was Kamiya, right? He left Platinum and that was his game. So
Yeah, we don't see that again. I think.
I don't think you'll ever see that again. But yes, we will be back for another episode of Xbox 2 next Friday, which would be July 5th. Ooh, a day after the 4th. So the day before Money in the Bank, Jez. Are you gonna watch that?
I need to catch up on WrestleMania first.
I guess you do. And yeah, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're listening to this later on the good old apps, Spotify and iTunes, leave us a review, leave us a rating. Those all help tremendously. And we will see you next week. Have a great rest of the weekend. And we're out of here.
Rock and roll, baby.
Later.